Chapter 621, Inverted World 2. Warurururuk. Flames cover the surroundings. It is a familiar sight. Blade Mountain True Lord. A familiar great king is in front of me. Ordinarily, I regress with death. However, this time is different. It is because I am cultivating the flawless mantra. This lowly sinner, Seo Un-yun, greets the great king. Raise your head. At the Blade Mountain Great King's words, I raise my head. As expected, it is a familiar sight. Countless ghost kings, asuras, yakshas, rakshasas, and reapers surround me, and before my eyes, a colossal-bodied judge looks down upon me. Strange. Ordinarily, the Imperial Venerable should have called you. Why is it that this time, the Imperial Venerable shows no reaction? Well, no matter. The Imperial Venerable must have a purpose. We merely follow that purpose. From now, the judgment of the sinner Seo Un-yun shall begin. The Blade Mountain True Lord contemplates for a moment as though trying to grasp the meaning of the heavenly venerable of the underworld, but soon shakes their head and begins to judge me. The first step of reincarnation has begun. How much time has passed? I undergo all 10 trials carried out by the underworld 10 kings, and at last, I stand before a giant wheel. It is not before the heavenly venerable of the underworld. It is before the front of the projection of the white wheel. Goo. I realize that the wheel is spinning endlessly. Beyond that rotation, I see countless souls. So that's how it is. The wheel carried on the back of the heavenly venerable of the underworld is, in itself, an authority governing the cycle of reincarnation. Lun Zhuan Lun Wei. The judgment you have received shall become proof of the life you will live henceforth. The karma you accumulated and the fortune and misfortune you consumed in your previous life shall guarantee your next life. I listen to the words of the last great king of the underworld 10 kings. The words of great King Wu Dao Zhuanlin. Step forward, then you shall obtain your next life. Yes. Thus, I move forward, reciting the flawless mantra. Let's go, to the next life. I chant the flawless mantra, perceiving my soul and flesh. My main body, still remains in the present world. The cultivation method of the flawless mantra is as follows. Leaving the main body behind, only the spirit departs to the underworld to be judged, and reincarnates with a powerful spirit containing solely a single will. And that one will is this. It is precisely reciting the flawless mantra while standing upside down. No matter whose child I am born under, no matter what connections I encounter. Cut them all off, and solely, unceasingly, continue reciting the flawless mantra. That is the cultivation method of the flawless mantra. And meanwhile, my main body remains in the present world, preventing me from disappearing completely. Thus, the complete death recognized as regression does not arrive. Of course, soon enough, it will. I step forward, taking a step toward my next life. A familiar sensation overtakes me. The world turns achromatic, and I begin to be slowly pushed out from this world. I am about to regress. But that can't happen. Ewing, just as I had preset, my wheel emerges at this moment. The wheel fiercely resists the force of regression, and within that resistance, I start heading toward the next life. And after some time, Swaha, this place, is it a flower field? I realize I have arrived at some kind of flower field. Then, someone approaches me. Are you cultivating the flawless mantra? I cannot answer, but as they come near, the authority of regression halts. I see, merely by their existence, my next life has been secured, and thus regression is severed. Will you truly be able to surpass obsidian? I shall watch. Now, go. Do not forget that the flower you will obtain here, that is, the fate and fortune that will determine your path ahead, all depends on the deeds of your past life. With those words, I lose consciousness. Wah. Within the twin-holding heavenly domain, aside from great net immortals, there are a total of 4 middle realms. They are commonly called the 4 great middle realms of the twin-holding heavenly domain, and each bear a different name. Krita realm, Treta realm, Divyapara realm, Kali realm. These peculiarly named 4 great middle realms are said to have been personally named by the god of gods who created the swallowing heaven supreme deity in ancient times. And, in one corner of the stable realm region within the Krita realm, in one area of the human zone where the human race lives, a baby is born. Hiok, what is this? However, the mother, upon seeing the baby, immediately gasps and throws it aside. The newborn, thrown away by the mother right after birth, stands on its hands. The baby stands upside down and begins chanting strange incantations. The mother, a lower-class commoner, recoils in terror, stepping backward from the baby. And no, that thing isn't my child. Even though she has just gone through childbirth and her body is difficult to move, the mother stumbles and flees, desperate to get away from the bizarre infant. But regardless of whether the mother does so or not, the baby endlessly chants the eerie mantra, standing upside down. How much time passes like that? Flash. A 5-colored light seems to swirl from the sky, and energy of 5 colors coils around the area. Each light is red, blue, purple, light pink, and black. That day, the humans of the Krita realm witness in the sky a vision of a red heavenly king, a blue heavenly king, a purple heavenly king, a light pink heavenly king, and lastly, a massive snake. Not long after these visions appear, someone appears before the upside-down, chanting child. It is a girl clad in a light pink robe. The girl gazes at the child for a while, then gently embraces the child in her arms. Even while in her arms, the child continues chanting, but soon, perhaps out of exhaustion, falls asleep. Holding the child, the girl looks up at the sky for a long while. The girl advances down the street with the baby. The girl seems mute, unable to speak, and the baby appears to have been born with a strange mind, standing on his hands every day while mumbling bizarre words. The two go around begging. Since the girl produces no milk, she goes begging for milk to feed the baby, and sustains herself by doing menial labor. As time passes, the baby and the girl grow. At first, they are merely a mute girl and a mentally deranged baby, but before long, they meet other beggars and form connections. A young man with a large frame but a limping leg, a boy missing both arms with an odd obsession with human hands, and a blind girl unable to see, all join their ranks. The group of 5 beggars wander from place to place, begging. The mentally deranged child also grows over time. The child becomes a boy, then grows into a young man. But even as a young man, he continues to walk on his hands, chanting incantations. Before long, tales of this beggar group spread widely among the human race, and countless people come to know about them. However, no cultivator shows any interest in them. Only mortals lacking spiritual energy or lower-tier cultivators bother to visit and watch them. How pitiful. Tisk must have committed some sin in a past life. Everyone looks upon the beggar group with sympathy. But among them, the one especially unable to do anything by himself, the mentally deranged man. They look at the man standing on his hands and curse him. No matter how deranged he is, he's old enough now. Shouldn't he at least be of some help to his family? Truly shameless. Not even cultivators can cure him, so what's to be done? Tisk. Passers-by continue to curse the man standing on his hands. As if knowing he, being deranged, cannot understand anyway, some even loudly curse him outright. But in truth, the one standing on his hands is unexpectedly intelligent. He constantly ponders while standing on his hands. Why does he walk on his hands? Why can't he speak like the others, and why must he endlessly recite strange incantations? Isn't this too cruel a fate? He, too, wishes to walk upright like other people, speak normally like other people, and live an ordinary life like other people. However, he cannot. The instinct rising from deep within his soul refuses it. No, the moment he tries to place his feet properly on the ground, his head spins, and his heart pounds as if his breath will stop. And when he tries to stop chanting those strange incantations, he feels suffocated and the sky turns yellow. Thus, he cannot stop this bizarre behavior. He can only continue living this meaningless life, devouring whatever food his family gives him while standing on his hands. Time continues to flow, and he grows old. Even in old age, he stands on his hands and chants incantations. By now, the family who spent their entire lives with him have all reached the end of their lifespans. He, too, feels the life within his body dimming. He earnestly wishes, please, if there is a next life. In the cold winter wind, he sheds tears as he prays. Please let me live an ordinary life. That is the end of his life. Quote. The man who lived his entire life standing on his hands opens his eyes. He lived a miserable life. Except for his family, no one ever approached him, no one ever tried to form a connection with him. To anyone who saw him, he was nothing but a madman. However, it is not as if he wished for such a life. The man, who lived a wretched and painful life, opens his eyes and looks around. This place is. What reflects around him is a world made of countless mountains of glass swords. And the man realizes for the first time in his life that he is not standing on his hands, but sitting. Quote. Ah, the man who stands on his hands. I shed tears. Ah, og, ooh. At last, I recover all my memories and weep. It was such a miserable life. A single lifetime, living not as me, accustomed to pain, but as another pure being who had never endured pain. That life was unbearably long and agonizing. It has given me a new kind of suffering that I have never experienced before. Drip, drip, how long do I struggle alone? I suddenly realize there is a familiar presence before my eyes. Quote. I see, it was you all, the family, who took care of me my entire past life. Jaeon Myung-hoon, Kong Min-hee, Oh Yun-sok, and Kim Yeon. Quote. Thank you, truly, thank you. And seeing me like this, Jaeon Myung-hoon speaks bitterly. Quote. Will you continue? Quote. I cannot answer for a while. Because that one life, with everything lost and living as a miserable madman, was too sorrowful and painful. But, quote. I will keep going. Even as tears fall, I open my mouth. I cannot give up here. I cannot give up halfway. Because, even if I must endure this wretched and painful life, I have received a great grace from you all. As I was granted life, I undeniably met my family. Even if it was something agreed upon beforehand, I have received grace from them. Therefore, even if I must endure this endless suffering, I will not give up. Because I am still so far from repaying the grace I received from them. Let's continue. Jaeon Myung-hoon. Quote. Jaeon Myung-hoon reaches out his hand to me with a sorrowful expression. That is my second reincarnation. Though the flawless mantra may have been leaked before, only the Obsidian Devil Heavenly King alone has ever properly cultivated it. I wonder if you will be able to endure its cultivation to the end. Quote. The process of the flawless mantra proceeds like this. After dying once, I reincarnate and live my entire life standing on my hands, then die again. Upon dying like that, I recover my memories and resurrect within the immortal body I previously left behind. At that point, I have the choice whether to continue cultivating the flawless mantra or not. And I have decided to continue cultivating it at least up to my second life. I look up at the Blade Mountain True Lord, who gazes down at me curiously, and open my mouth. Please begin the judgment, O great king. Very well, judgment in the underworld is carried out according to the domain each great king oversees. In particular, they focus on judging things like inflicting pain upon others, taking others' lives, acting with malice, and exploiting others. And those standards are never those of mortals. Even if one has not killed other humans or other intelligent races, one is punished. Because one had eaten the meat of animals that have been killed. Even if one avoids meat entirely and consumes only vegetables, one receives punishment. It is because one had stepped on passing insects by accident, and killed and ate grasses. Even if one ate nothing but mud, one receives punishment. It is because one had stolen the lives of insignificant creatures living within the mud. The underworld considers it a sin if you influence the fate of even the smallest speck of dust in the world, and that speck of dust suffers. In this world, even breathing becomes an act of committing sin. I receive punishment for stepping on grass, breathing, and killing microorganisms. And I receive punishment for making my parents, who gave birth to me, flee in terror, and for failing to support the family with whom I lived my entire life. Having paid the price for all my sins, I stand once again before the wheel. Take a step forward, and it will be your next life. Quote. I know. I step forward. I once heard that the ability of the Obsidian Devil Heavenly King allowed them to completely skip all the complex judgments of the underworld. But I willingly accept every judgment. Because even those seemingly unreasonable judgments are the proof of my life. I reincarnate into the next life. It is the familiar flower field. You have lived your previous life in suffering. How was it, that painful life? Quote. An old man holding a flower basket smiles at me. The world draws a taiji. That is why, where there is no fortune, there is misfortune, and where there is no misfortune, fortune arises. Quote. In your past life, you kicked away all fortune, choosing only misfortune, and stood on your hands, was it not so? He smiles faintly and sprinkles something on me. It is light. Having lived a lifetime in misfortune, in this life, live within fortune and virtue. I close my eyes as the light falls upon me. I see the next life. one of the four great middle realms of the twin holding heavenly domain, the dragon race territory of the Treta realm. In one place within that dragon race territory, a dragon egg cracks open. Ooh, the crown prince is about to be born. Ha ha ha, surely since it is an egg birthed holding immense vitality, a bloodline that much powerful will be born. The black dragon race's dragon king and dragon queen smile at each other as they look at their soon-to-be-born child. However, what emerges is, strangely enough, a baby dragon who immediately stands on his hands and spits out bizarre, incomprehensible sounds. What is this? Hear me, call the royal physician, contact the priest. It seems a ghost has possessed the crown prince. Taken aback, the dragon king and dragon queen of the black dragon race quickly gather their subordinates. But on that day, not a single one among those assembled is able to cure the crown prince's strange condition. In the end, the dragon king and dragon queen of the black dragon race, holding back tears, lock their eldest son away in a solitary chamber. Furthermore, they hide the entire matter from everyone, entrusting the mad child born to them to a mute human race mortal girl. The mad crown prince born to the dragon race is thus, from the moment of his birth, left forever imprisoned in a solitude chamber, in the hands of a human race caretaker. The inverted prince, who since childhood continuously stands upside down and mutters bizarre words, grows up under the care of the caretaker while harboring many questions. Why must he do such things? Why must he mutter such strange words? Why is he unable to bring happiness to his parents? He tries to escape this bizarre fate, but for some reason, he cannot stop performing the act. It is already an uncontrollable instinct. Unlike others, he behaves differently, making himself feel like some sort of monster. The crown prince is clearly born possessing noble fortune and virtue, yet he is unable to enjoy any of it. Time passes. The human race caretaker who cared for him eventually dies, and another caretaker arrives. It is a caretaker without arms. Unusually obsessed with hands, this caretaker spends a long time together with the prince. Eventually, that caretaker also reaches their death, and around that time, the prince too senses his own lifespan nearing its end. Why did I have to be born this way? The fact that he cannot behave normally or stop reciting bizarre words is not of his own will. It is simply instinct, and he does not possess the strength to suppress that instinct. As his lifespan nears its end, he contemplates why he had to be born like this, and while tormented, meets his death. Thus, he dies. Is this the second time? I shed tears. It is only now the second time. My chest aches. It is not merely listening to or watching someone else's life. He is me, no different from another one of my personalities. Coo, I wail, recalling myself who lived a life of misery, unable to form any connections. It was so painful. Familiar figures arrive before my eyes. Will you continue? I will continue, no matter how many times. However painful it may be, this is something that must not end. Remember this, Jaeon Myung-hoon. I speak through falling tears. Right now, I am in so much pain. But, even if life is filled with suffering, it is not composed solely of it. The most precious teaching I was once taught. Life is not only about seeking pain within it. That is why, though the past life may have been hard, it was also undeniably a blessing. I look at Kim Yeon and Jaeon Myung-hoon. Thank you, for becoming my family in that past life. You fool, Kwakijijik. Once again, a lightning spear pierces into me. And once again, I lose consciousness. That is my third reincarnation. Receiving judgment for sins in the underworld no longer feels significant to me. After all I did in my past life was stand upside down on my hands and recite the flawless mantra. I never maliciously harmed anyone. Therefore, the sentence I receive is always considerably lighter compared to other spirits. Sure, they say I killed microorganisms, but since I never directly killed any intelligent races, the deaths of such microorganisms do not result in severe punishment. I quickly serve all my sentences and head toward the next life. A familiar flower field welcomes me. And a familiar old man appears. In your past life, you kicked away all the fortune and virtue I granted you, choosing instead to draw misfortune upon yourself. Tisk tisk, I truly wonder how far you will cultivate. For as the flawless mantra accumulates cycles, it truly becomes a mantra worthy of being called a god of gods. Here, the fortune and virtue you should have enjoyed in your past life. And the fortune and virtue you are to receive in this life. Thus, I receive the fortune and virtue I should have enjoyed in the past life, along with the fortune and virtue added in this new life. Continuously undergoing the cycle of reincarnation, taking in nothing but misfortune from the world, while endlessly accumulating the fortune and virtue one is meant to enjoy upon one's spirit. As the cycles accumulate, the more the fortune one is to receive increases. Kicking away all of the overwhelming fortune and virtue within life, and living only under misfortune through reciting the flawless mantra until death. Thus evolving the innate fortune one is born with. Rolling and rolling like a snowball the fortune one is meant to receive, evolving one's fate further and further, and transcending with the fate that has reached the pinnacle of the bridal. That is precisely the flawless mantra. I will definitely complete it. I steel my heart as I head toward the next life. No matter what calamities the world throws at me, I will, without fail, complete the flawless mantra. In doing so, I will, no matter what, return the grace I have received from this world. 622. Kurururururung. The twin holding heavenly domain trembles. The entire heavenly domain quakes as though an enormous sea of thunderclouds sweeps over it for a brief moment. At the same time, a tremendous roar engulfs heaven and earth. Countless true immortals and minor gods gaze toward the source of the roar. Kurururung. Then, at the overwhelming momentum emanating from that source, all but a few flinch back. Kwakijijik. At that moment, a certain figure spreads across the entire twin holding heavenly domain. It is the figure of a giant with 3 heads and 8 arms. That terrifying-faced giant brandishes its 8 arms and lets out a roar. Kururururung. After roaring across the twin holding heavenly domain, the figure of the giant soon dissipates. And all the true immortals, as well as those at the entering nirvana and sacred vessel stages within the twin holding heavenly domain realize. A new middle realm has been born within the twin holding heavenly domain. In other words, a new great net immortal has been born. Numerous true immortals attempt to find and establish ties with the newly born great net immortal. However, strangely enough, the new great net immortal cannot be found anywhere. The true immortals of the twin holding heavenly domain merely assume the new great immortal is being cautious and, with that understanding, they return to their places. Meanwhile, in one corner of the twin holding heavenly domain, Purple Lotus Realm, there, Jaeon Myung-hoon, who has finally reached the realm of great net immortal, looks at the man before him with a hardened expression. I have risen to great net immortal. Congratulations, Jaeon Myung-hoon. Are you going to continue? Of course. The man before him, the immortal beast Candle Shadow, the crystal glass being Seo Eun-yun, smiles faintly, offering a congratulatory smile to the now great net immortal Jaeon Myung-hoon. Jaeon Myung-hoon turns away, smiling bitterly. Now, it's Yun Sok Hung Nim's turn. And Kim Yeon as well, regardless of the circumstances, needs to cultivate the seed itself, so she'll have to kill you. There are still 12 more times left, Seo Eun-yun. Is that so? Finishing his words, Jaeon Myung-hoon turns around and walks away, and in front of Seo Eun-yun, a burly man appears and stands. Watching Myung-hoon having to kill you in every lifetime, I always thought it must be painful. But, that, too, is your choice, isn't it? Seo Eun-yun, it is. In that case, I won't kill you with difficulty while looking at you. Oh Yun Sok smiles. I'll kill you while smiling. So, you shouldn't carry that burden in your heart either. Is that so? Seo Eun-yun gazes at Oh Yun Sok with an ambiguous expression. And immediately after, as if having made a decision, Seo Eun-yun whispers something to Oh Yun Sok. A moment later, Oh Yun Sok's face trembles slightly. I see. Master. Azure Tiger Saint. Master has understood. Oh Yun Sok speaks with a hardened expression. I will use that one called Jun Jae as the key, and head to the Elephant Nose Heavenly Domain to ask. Ask what Master Hien Ryang has done to Master Azure Tiger Saint. Seo Eun-yun nods as he looks at Oh Yun Sok, and the two exchange words for a while. A little while later, Oh Yun Sok raises his fist and kills Seo Eun-yun. That is Seo Eun-yun's 7th reincarnation. Which number is it now? How many times have I died and been born again? How many times have I despaired in a painful life, returning again and again through the twin holding heavenly domains Krita realm, Treta realm, Divyapara realm, and Kali realm? How many times have I come back, circling through the 4 middle realms? Is that so? The 18th time, huh? I faintly smile as I at least see Jaeon Myung-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, and Kim Yeon, already reaching the realm of a great net immortal, are levels equivalent to it. 18 reincarnations. Within each, I suffered endlessly and screamed. Every time I retrieved my memories, the desire to give up surged over me like a great sea. But, every time, my comrades became my family. Because the flawless mantra must be completed without assistance, granted by fate, my comrades always took the forms of mortal beings and took care of me. They become my family, my parents. That's why, I cannot give up. Even if it's to achieve my comrades' goals together. I can never give up. Jaeon Myung-hoon's immortal Tao is the immortal Tao of heavenly punishment. Kang Min-hee's immortal Tao is the immortal Tao of vice. Oh Yun-sok's immortal Tao is the immortal Tao of 7 stars. Kim Yeon, though she does not follow the system of immortal cultivation, says her own immortal Tao is the immortal Tao of end of the vast cold heavenly lord. Before I knew it, my comrades had one by one reached the realm of a great net immortal. Wu Wang, and before I know it, as I look at my comrades, I begin to see visions of something gradually forming clearly behind them. What is that? Behind Jaeon Myung-hoon, a red Dharma statue with 3 heads and 8 arms, bearing a fierce expression, becomes visible. Behind Kang Min-hee stands a Dharma statue holding a medicine bottle, wearing a serene face. Behind Oh Yun-sok stands a being performing the Vajra Mudra and Lotus Mudra. The being has one head with 2 faces, with one face opening its mouth as if pronouncing, ah-oh, and the other as if pronouncing, hum-hong. Behind Kim Yeon is an elegant figure, holding a lotus in one hand and wearing a treasure vase bao-ping atop the crown of its head. The being is surrounded by radiant light imbued with infinite power and envelops Kim Yeon. Watching those figures, I feel somehow as if my comrades are becoming more distant than before. But that's not what's important right now. What's important now is my own cultivation. From here on, it is the beginning of cultivation for myself. Thus, I take my own life for the sake of my upper immortal cultivation. I'm glad I can see you. As soon as I enter the underworld, I look up at Kang Min-hee who is visible. Before I know it, Kang Min-hee has become one of the judges of the underworld. She looks at me with a sorrowful expression, yet still carries out my punishment alongside the other judges. Because she is the judge of vice who judges vice itself, she cannot exert much influence when it comes to executing my punishment. After all, what great vice can someone like me, who merely walks around upside down on their hands, possibly commit? At most, the only vice she can judge me for is the act of killing microorganisms. But even so, I still like seeing Kang Min-hee's face briefly in the underworld. Always be there in that seat. Quiet, the sinner, must not show personal emotions. Kang Min-hee judges me with a bitter smile, and I quickly pass by the other judges, reaching my next life. 19th cycle, 20th cycle, 21st cycle. As the cycles of reincarnation gradually accumulate, I continue my upper immortal cultivation quickly. 22nd cycle, 23rd cycle, and then, 24th cycle. At last, I realize that I have completed the yin pitch cultivation. Now, it's the late stage of upper immortal. All I need to do is prepare for the advancement ritual for great net immortal and reach that realm. But why, I wonder. What is this? I blink as I look at myself arriving in the next life. I live my 25th life, standing on my hands in an incomprehensible state, reciting the flawless mantra. Then just like that, I reach the end of my lifespan and die. And I come to understand what the problem is. I see now, the immortal Tao of the mountain hasn't grown sufficiently. That's why, even though it's as if I've annihilated 6 civilizations, I end up repeating it again. Realizing this, I once again utter a prophecy through the immortal Tao of the mountain. I prophesize. This is a prophecy about my future, and at the same time, a revision. In the place where this immortal will reincarnate in the future, the mountain this immortal has accumulated shall accompany. This immortal shall end life near that mountain. Through the power of the immortal Tao, I prophesize that a mountain will arise in the place where I will be born in the future. Thus, the cultivation of the mountain immortal Tao and the cultivation of the flawless mantra resume to proceed side by side. 26th cycle, 27th cycle, 28th cycle, 29th cycle. It's now the 30th cycle. Before I know it, the power of my immortal Tao of the mountain has grown considerably stronger. Furthermore, the fortune and virtue, accumulated every time I repeat my life also continues to strengthen my fate, and I can feel that my innate talent as a true immortal is growing stronger. Even if I stop cultivating at this point, that alone will bring significant improvement in strength. However, there is a problem. Even now, the immortal Tao of the mountain hasn't grown enough. The talent may have grown, but my strength seems to be something separate. It can't be helped. I ask for understanding from my comrades. They still seem emotionally burdened by following my painful lives. Nevertheless, they continue to support me and become my family. In this way, I continue reciting the flawless mantra. Gradually, the power of my immortal Tao of the mountain grows. I unendingly kick away my fortune and virtue, living life repeatedly like a madman, standing upside down on my hands and chanting the flawless mantra. At the same time, through prophecy and revision, I create mountains in the places where I will be born. As time passes, as the cycles repeat, those mountains gradually grow larger. My immortal Tao is steadily growing more powerful. And, as I continue growing mountains, I come to realize that at some point I have gone beyond merely growing mountains and can even create an island. 50th cycle. I gaze down at the four great middle realms of the twin holding heavenly domain. By now, there are quite a few islands that I have created in the sea of the four great middle realms. Well now, they say one becomes incredibly powerful after learning the flawless mantra, but how is it that you, even after repeating 50 lives, are still only at that level? One day, Ho-Woon came to find me. Anyway, now that you've reached the stage where you've moved from mountain to island, you should be starting to feel it. Does your immortal crown still show no response? Well, I still do not feel the immortal crown. This is quite troubling. Still, if you keep it steadily, there will be results. Yes, thank you. By the way, I look at Ho-Woon and ask. You will be reaching great net immortal anytime now. Yeah, though I can't betray you because every one of your comrades is too much of a monster, stay alert. The moment your comrades lose interest in you, I will betray you. Haha, you're honest, but I think, Senior will never be able to betray me. HMPH. Anyway, if you've succeeded in going from building mountains to creating islands, the next step is a continent. Accumulate mountains upon mountains and make a continent. Finishing their words, Ho-Woon disappears before my eyes. I engrave Ho-Woon's teaching in my heart and head toward my next life. The more lives I head towards, I gradually notice that because of the flawless mantra, the inherent value of the race I reincarnate into begins to change. At first, I am nothing more than a lowly human commoner, but before long, as I continue to receive, and receive, and receive fortune and virtue, eventually, my very birth becomes that of an incredibly powerful being. Kururururung. At some point, I find myself born directly as a nascent soul stage cultivator from the start. Of course, as soon as I am born as a nascent soul cultivator, I become targeted by other cultivators to be used as pill ingredients or as a body to seize. However, my comrades continue to become my family and protect me. I keep repeating the prophecy of creating islands, strengthening the power of my immortal Tao, and ensuring I end up on the isolated islands I created, spending my life there. Thus, I continue to go to the isolated islands I have made through the power of the immortal Tao, and in each and every life, I endlessly chant the flawless mantra. And finally, when I reach my 100th reincarnation, by now, my fortune and virtue overflows, reaching the point where I am born directly at the grand perfection integration stage. At this point, there are no longer any beings who trouble me. Only some true immortals show mild interest, and my comrades begin to protect me from those true immortals. Also, is it perhaps because the integration stage is when one steps into the door of immortal arts? I obtain a unique immortal art through the flawless mantra. The moment I am born, I marvel at the sight before my eyes. It is Mount Sumeru. The entirety of Mount Sumeru fits within my eyes. It is different from the phenomena extinguishing mantra. The 100th life. From the moment I am born, I obtain an immortal art that allows me to observe all of Mount Sumeru within my view. And I realize something. I see. At some point, I began thinking that I was merely repeating being born and dying through the flawless mantra. But that was not it. The swallowing heaven supreme deity. At some point, I have come under the influence of the swallowing heaven supreme deity, endlessly repeating this history under the authority of history repetition like the obsidian devil heavenly king. 150th cycle. My immortal Tao grows steadily stronger, now reaching the state where I can create a continent with a single prophecy. At my single prophecy, the ground rises, a continent forms, and a natural ecosystem is born. 200th cycle. Before I know it, I am born as an innate star-shattering esteemed one. Author's note. I'm sorry that I couldn't post more chapters on Hangul Day. I'll try to make up for it soon. Ah, by the way, the heavenly kings attached to the enders are each Jaeon Myung-hoon, based on the Vajra that removes filth Wei Ji Jin Gang. Kong Min-hee, based on the medicine Buddha Yao Shi Ru Lai. Oh Yun-sok, based on the benevolent kings Ren Wang Jin Gang Li Shi. Kim Yeon, based on Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva Da Shi Ji Pu Sa. Chapter 623, Inverted World 4. This place is. I open my eyes. I see. I am a being born chosen, entrusted with a mission. My sole purpose and mission of existence is only to expel matter so that the great true persons can create stars. As an innately born star-shattering stage esteemed one, I must become a component that allows this universe to turn. But, for some reason, I notice that I have another mission besides that. Why? It feels like I must carry out a different mission. There is something more important than the mission given to me. Eventually, I come to know what it is. That's right, being inverted. That is the very thing I must prioritize over the mission I was born with. However, how does one become inverted? I am confused. I am round. The bodies of star-shattering stage-esteemed ones are satellites, so there is no up or down. Then how should I invert myself? How can I stand upside down? However, such contemplations vanish in an instant. I see. Then let's defy and go against my fate. Let's defy the mission I was born with. That is how one without up or down stands upside down. From that day on, I abandon the mission of an innate star-shattering esteemed one, which is the creation of heaven and earth spiritual energy and matter. Instead, I begin to inhale the spiritual energy and dust clouds that the innate entering nirvana true persons use to create stars. Kugugugugu. I, who should be a help to the world, choose instead to become the misfortune of the world itself. Experiencing misfortune again and becoming misfortune itself. Is this the pinnacle of the bridal? Suddenly, a voice that seems to sigh brushes past my mind, and before my eyes, the image of a white-robed figure sitting atop a glass sword mountain flashes by. I cannot tell what this is. What is certain is that I am doing something wrong. I begin to repeatedly scatter incomprehensible bizarre words around me while simultaneously beginning to defy my mission. And the more I do so, the deeper my self-loathing grows. I feel like I have become a being unnecessary to this world. It feels as if the very laws of the world are mocking me. Then, at some point, quagwagwong, someone pierces through me. Ah, is this the end? This painful life, spent defying my mission and forcing power into my body all my life. Even as I am being pierced and dying from something, I feel joy. It is rather pleasant, a life where I cannot properly follow my fate. Isn't it better to not exist at all? And so I fall asleep. I see. I understand who it is that killed me. The other true immortals. And among them, one who has had prior acquaintance with me. So it's you. From my second reincarnation, they must have been keeping an eye on me. I speak to the being before me, descended like an incarnation of darkness. Jaeon Myung-hoon has spread Indra's net to restrain them, while Oh Yun-sok, Kong Min-hee, and Kim Yeon are blocking what appears to be their main body from beyond the purple lotus realm. And I calmly gaze at them. That being, like an incarnation of darkness. The immortal beast, Black Dragon, Hei Long. They are the one who popped and killed the innate shattering stage me in order to stop me. When you first nested in the bloodline of my descendants, I didn't believe it. The cultivation of the flawless mantra is so harsh, painful, and terrifying that even a being who has acquired the formula can't hope to reach minor success. Proper cultivation should be impossible. But watching you cultivate the formula over 100, over 200 times. I finally became certain. Black Dragon looks down at me and speaks coldly. You will become the devil heavenly king. You will become the second coming of that monster, and once again try to devour Mount Sumeru. This immortal cannot allow it. Whatever the case, Mount Sumeru is our cradle, a place we must protect. Therefore, I absolutely cannot allow the birth of a second swallowing heaven Tuntien. Kwakijijik. Black Dragon takes a step forward, trying to touch my main body, but Jaeon Myung-hoon's Indra net blocks them. That's far enough. Led by Jaeon Myung-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, Kong Min-hee, Kim Yeon, and Hong Fan appear around me. This is the path chosen by Seo Eun-yun. No one can stop it. The world will not perish. So, vanish. Black Dragon looks around at my comrades and gives a meaningful smile. Of course, each of you is stronger than me. Fine, I admit that. I have no confidence in breaking through you all to kill Seo Eun-yun, but what if it's us? Ku. Beyond the purple lotus realm. True immortals of the twin-holding heavenly domain begin to gather. This immortal is weaker than you all, but who knows if it's us. They cast a sinister gaze toward one corner of the purple lotus realm. O law protecting immortal of Radiance Hall. I know you were caught and forcibly brought here by these ones. At this point, the Radiance 8 immortals have gone out to the outer sea, so you may not receive their help, but seek aid from the envoys of the final age of Dharma. Contact the 33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals. We will aid in your liberation. Kururum. Along with those words, in one distant corner of the purple lotus realm, the colossal body of a pale true immortal rises. It is Ho Woon, now only half a step away from becoming a great net immortal. O sinister immortal beast, do you think I do not see your deluded goal? Do not scheme against this law-protecting immortal of Radiance Hall, Ho Woon, and vanish. Ha ha ha, a deluded goal, you say. The incarnation of darkness before me, who is trying to threaten me, returns to Black Dragon's main body beyond the purple lotus realm. The main body of Black Dragon is a colossal dragon of darkness large enough to cover an entire galaxy. Ku. As Black Dragon reveals their presence, the Heaven Immortals and Earth Immortals of the twin-holding heavenly domain, who seem to be threatened by the flawless mantra, begin to surround the purple lotus realm. Is there any place more deluded than Radiance Hall? Do you know their true will? As far as this immortal knows, you made a pact with that one to learn that true will. Immediately break the contract now and join this immortal. This immortal shall tell you the truth. Apparently, Black Dragon also knows the true will of Radiance Hall and tries to persuade Ho Woon. However, Ho Woon brings out their tails in their true form. Tails made of pale flame appear even larger than Ho Woon's true form, swaying gently. How foolish. What this immortal agreed upon is not merely the exchange of information. This immortal vowed to aid him, with utmost sincerity and wholeheartedness. Therefore, even if I receive the information, I cannot betray him right now. In Ho Woon's hand, a star of prophecy begins to form. I am the law-protecting immortal of Radiance Hall. It is this immortal's duty to uphold the justice of light. Do not attempt to deceive an envoy of Radiance Hall with such wicked words. Ha, you cannot even be honest with yourself. Very well, then, shall we engage in a match? Black Dragon's main body begins to retreat. But at the same time, the countless Heaven Immortals and Earth Immortals who have followed Black Dragon all begin to chant prophecies and revisions with their mouths. My comrades, too, begin to chant prophecies in return in order to protect me. Ho Woon also steps forward with my comrades, voicing their prophecy. Ho Woon looks back at me and speaks. Watch closely. This is the prophecy of an immortal who walks the immortal Tao of the mountain. As if unfolding the prophecy in order to ultimately impart teaching to me, they grant me enlightenment. Seeing this sight, I realize that a true war between true immortals has begun. I continue to reincarnate without end. Only, the scope of reincarnation has narrowed slightly. Before, I reincarnated across the 4 great middle realms of the twin-holding heavenly domain, but now, it is only within the world of Purple Nebula in a corner of the twin-holding heavenly domain. I reincarnate solely within the Purple Lotus realm. I become an innate esteemed one and live a long, long life. Yet the more I am born, the more I live, the stronger the misfortune scattered by the true immortals becomes. Even my comrades cannot easily protect me, and I die in all sorts of bizarre, unimaginable ways. Like so, time flows once more. 300th cycle. Before I know it, I am an innate sacred vessel. I have become a being like Seo Weol. I have been born as an immortal art itself. Ku. A sacred vessel must provide light to the world simply by existing. But I am a being who must stand upside down. Therefore, I begin to defy my own fate. Ku. I do not offer light. Instead, I devour all light. I become a monster that devours all nearby light. However, as I devour light, I feel something uncomfortable. No, that's not it. It's more than just discomfort. This isn't right. I can tell that something is deeply wrong. I thrash, not wanting to devour any more light, but it's no use. The repeated history itself has become fate and binds me. So that's how it is. Kurururum. As I am ultimately killed by Black Dragon, who breaks through the protective barrier of my comrades and enters the Purple Lotus realm, I realize. Flawless mantra. The flawless mantra is, in itself, alive. And this mantra continuously whispers to me. To devour the entire world. To swallow all things in the world and rise to the pinnacle. That alone, it says, is the true answer. Hearing this, I grit my teeth. Don't make me laugh. That is no answer. I am me. I do not accept the way of the flawless mantra. Therefore, there is no way I can remain as misfortune itself like this. The master of myself is me. Not you. I begin to resist the flawless mantra that has at some point began to make me into the bridal itself. And even as I do so, time continues to flow. 400th cycle. I am endlessly killed by true immortals, again and again, and finally, I am born as an innate entering nirvana. At the same time, Kururururung, the immortal Tao of the mountain finally reaches its peak. At first, my immortal Tao could only create small piles of sand. Then, at some point, the sand piles grew larger and larger until they became hills. The hills became mountains, the mountains became valleys, and eventually, I could create islands in the sea. In time, the islands also became continents. Thus, the immortal Tao that raises continents grew stronger and stronger, and finally, it has reached its peak. Urururung. The immortal Tao of the mountain can now accumulate the dust of the universe to create stars. I see. I recall that when I first met Ho Woon, unlike the other true immortals, they only opposed me by creating stars. The foundation of a true immortal, the star of prophecy. To hone and polish that prophecy to the extreme. This is the way of the immortal Tao of the mountain. Kurururung. As one who gives birth to stars, I create stars as an entering nirvana, and devour the very stars I create. And once again, I meet death. I see. I now know what I must do to escape you. I mutter as I gaze at the flawless mantra that binds me. You will not have it your way. From that day on, whenever I return to my main body after death, I create countless stars using the power of the mountain immortal Tao. Then, when I reincarnate and am born again as an innate entering nirvana, I devour only the stars I made myself. I create and consume by my own hand. Repeating that process, when the time comes that only stars I did not create remain, I use the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Kururururung. I compress myself into a single point. If I withstand the compression into a single point, I grow. But if I cannot endure, I die. And none of the me's who lose their memories and reincarnate under the flawless mantra can stop the phenomena extinguishing mantra, so they all die. The flawless mantra ultimately decides in a past life what I must do in the next, and I in the present life according to the law set in that past life. That is why I begin to recite the phenomena extinguishing mantra alongside the flawless mantra. 500th cycle. At last, I become an innate true immortal. I become a mantra in and of itself. At this point, even if I reincarnate, I instantly regain my power and authority as an immortal beast and recover all my memories. As a result, I have become able to cultivate yang pitch as well. Each time I rise again as an immortal beast, it is the same as successfully cultivating yang pitch, so I end up continuously cultivating both yang pitch and yin pitch together. And from that point onward, I begin to sense something strange. I have already reached the peak of both heaven upper immortal and earth. Upper immortal through the methods of yang pitch and yin pitch. Now, with just a little preparation for the great net immortal advancement ritual, I could become one. The immortal Tao of the mountain has also reached its peak, far stronger than it had ever been before. Then why? I feel a sense of doubt. Why have I still not been granted the immortal crown? It is strange, and the moment I feel that strangeness, flash, the movements of Brahma nature, Narayana nature, and Mahavira nature flicker across my eyes. I have cultivated yang pitch and yin pitch more than 12 times each. Never harming any other race, I carved away only at myself in cultivation, and thanks to that, the cultivation of triple divinity also proceeded naturally. Perhaps because of this, I begin to see things I have never seen before. I realize that all things of all phenomena are contained within triple divinity. All beings of all phenomena carry triple divinity within them, and those beings who are intricately connected to triple divinity live with possessing what is called a heart. As I read the heart that exists throughout this entire world, I open my eyes wide. I realize why I have not received the immortal crown until now. It is true that my understanding of the immortal Tao of the mountain had been lacking until now, but there is another reason as well. GWAKM. The great mountain supreme deity GWAKM is blocking the immortal crown that is meant to be bestowed upon me. Chapter 624. Inverted World 5. It's petty. Anyone would think so just by looking. However, the moment I realize this fact, a different thought comes to mind. Are they not doing it on purpose, to make it look petty? Swaa. This is a wave visible only to my eyes, refined by acquiring triple divinity, and further honed through yang pitch and yin pitch. Of course, perhaps Hyeon Mu or Kim Young-hoon may also be seeing it with similar vision. But for some reason, I feel that their vision is not the same as mine. All of Mount Sumeru is covered by the wave. The wave feels like a strange melody, like grotesque maggots, and like a beautiful symphony of clouds. This is the heart of the entire world. It must be a scene visible only because I, by becoming an innate true immortal through the flawless mantra, by becoming an immortal art that observes all of Mount Sumeru itself, have fused my vision with triple divinity. I see it, and through this, I realize that GWAKM is deliberately choosing not give me the immortal crown. I see. GWAKM. I hear the will of GWAKM that is interwoven between the countless hearts embedded throughout Mount Sumeru. I shall be hated. By the Sumeru three heavens great thousand worlds, by all beings, I will be hated. I shall face all the hatred and suffering of all phenomena head on. Through all that, I will seek repentant enlightenment. I shall honor the spirit of my master and uphold his will. Thus, I shall be hated by you as well. Hate me. ... I see. A will to be hated by all. And that will creates a resolution that demands all beings must hate them. I follow the flow of Brahma nature, Narayana nature, and Mahavira nature, which circulates throughout the world, and trace GWAKM's heart in reverse to pursue their thoughts. In the group of all beings who must hate GWAKM, I, too, must eventually be included. However, GWAKM reaches the conclusion that I, ultimately, will not be able to hate them. Why? I cannot read any further into GWAKM's heart. If I want to delve deeper into their inner heart, it seems I must further perfect triple divinity. But I can't understand it. I hate GWAKM. That is certain. I still vividly remember when the Wuji religious order was torn apart. The brutality of GWAKM, who annihilated the order in a single strike and personally tore apart the ones I cherished one by one, remains etched in my mind. They are undoubtedly my senior brother, a fellow disciple who served the same master. But that is that. This is this. Even if I respect them as a senior who served our master before me, I cannot forgive them. This hatred I feel toward them does not fade. And yet, why on earth would GWAKM come to such a conclusion, and even stoop to such petty acts in order to be hated by me? Someday, I'll understand. As I listen to the lingering echoes of the heart sweeping through the entire world, I think that one day I will uncover GWAKM's inner heart. It is at that very moment. Ah, I realize something. And the instant I come to this realization, I understand what it truly means to invert. As I awaken to this truth, I recite the flawless mantra and head toward the next life. I am born, and at the same time, I instinctively know my purpose. I am an innate true immortal. A being who, by existence alone, receives the grace of Mount Sumeru, and in turn must enrich Mount Sumeru to repay that grace. I must, by mere existence, contribute to the system of immortal cultivation. By mere existence, I must strengthen the path to the heavens, so that countless others may benefit. That is the reason for my birth. The moment I realize this, I recognize that I must invert. If to be an innate true immortal means to support the system of immortal cultivation, then to invert it is to be its opposite. I shall not contribute to the system of immortal cultivation. I shall not support the world, rather, I shall devour it. I shall become a being that devours all. Wu Wang, I decide to become a monster that devours everything, including light itself. Self-hatred stirs, but it does not matter. I do not know why, but somehow it feels like this is something I have already done dozens, hundreds of times. At this point, what does it matter if I keep repeating it? However, from deep inside me, I feel a will trying to surface. It is a voice. That is not it. What is that supposed to mean? I ignore the voice and proceed to invert as I originally intended. Let's devour the world, and collapse the system of immortal cultivation. That is the true inversion I must carry out. Either way, it's the same. However, I cannot ignore this voice. Because the power contained in that voice is binding me with such force that it is forcibly turning my head. This power is something even I, who have become the immortal art that devours the world, cannot possibly disregard. What is this power? Suddenly, I grow curious about the identity of this power. If I keep devouring the world, I think I will be able to remember something I have forgotten. Then I will be able to figure out the identity of this power. But, if I listen to you, it feels like I will lose my memories instead. I speak to the voice. Is it okay to lose those memories? Before I know it, I realize I am facing the owner of the voice deep within the surface of a deep and deep darkness. The owner of the voice is a man in white, reflecting all light. And I am in the form of a man in black, devouring all light. We sit in a lotus position, facing each other and in an inverted state. Only by going against this world can we reclaim ourselves. And yet, you say you will not go against it. Are you saying you will not reclaim us? Do you not understand that if the world itself is inverted, then us becoming inverted is the only way to be normal? Let me ask you one thing. I realize that this figure is another me. Another aspect of myself speaks to me. If you draw a circle on paper and try to move away from one side of that circle by heading in the opposite direction, what happens? What on earth is he trying to say? Yet with his words, a circle draws itself before my eyes. We are inside that circle. Eventually, if you keep going in the opposite direction and reach the far end of the circle. At the center of the circle, there is light. And that light stretches upward and downward from the center of the flat circle, reaching both the place where I stand and where he stands. Before I know it, the circle we stand on draws a taiji. Is it not the same? It's true. No matter which direction you head toward from the center, you eventually reach the boundary of the circle and take on the same image as the opposite side. O myself, who has received only misfortune and become misfortune itself. I have grown while receiving fortune and virtue, and thought surely blessings await me at the end. But look, even if one is granted fortune and virtue to the extreme and becomes an innate true immortal, contributing to the heavenly path of immortal cultivation. Even if one gathers only misfortune to the extreme, becomes misfortune itself, and turns into a monster that shatters immortal cultivation. Whether we become fortune or misfortune, in the end, we all become components. Playing the role of an innate true immortal who supports the immortal cultivation system. Or inverting that role to collapse the immortal cultivation system. In the end, both are consumed by the role and become components for the sake of the play. The white, me, seems to want to say just that. The essence of fortune and misfortune is ultimately the same. No matter which extreme one reaches, within this world, one ends up as components. Then, what does it mean to be truly inverted? As one whose essence is inversion, I ask the me in white. I must hear his answer. And the me in white smiles subtly. If misfortune and fortune, if blessings and curses are in truth one and the same, then let us give what we can with compassion, but let us not be lost in it. If we truly wish to invert, then isn't what we must do, escaping from the roleplay? Is it not to escape the situation of just being a component? Single quote. As I listen to those words, I gradually feel the white me and the black me drawing closer to each other. Let us have a heart. A heart, even if we cannot completely escape from being components, let us not become true components. Let us not forget ourselves within this play. Is that not? Bit by bit, me and I draw closer, and at last, within the pure white light, I feel the existence called me completely become one. What it means to truly stand upright in this inverted world. Single quote. Single quote. The moment I realize this, a powerful shiver flows through my entire body. Phenomena extinguishing and flawless are one. Such realization brushes past me for some reason. At the same time, faint memories begin to return, and before my eyes, I begin to faintly see someone. Though the memories have not fully returned, I immediately know who it is. Quote. Ju Cho. However, they instantly react against my statement. Master, I am Hong Fan, please come to your senses. Are you all right? Quote. I look at him and smile. Quote. Do not worry, from now on, I shall truly enter flawlessness. Master, something is wrong with your condition. Your flawless mantra is unstable. Your comrades are all worried. Master is currently in a strange state right now. Please, escape from that condition immediately. Quote. At that moment, an image of the me newly born this time reflects in my mind. It is the appearance of me, entirely transformed into a black hole of the universe. I have become a perfect black hole of the universe, but at some point, light bursts out from various parts of the body, making my form unstable. The neat sphere becomes distorted and begins to tremble violently. My comrades stand guard, watching over me with worry. Their hearts seem to transmit a shared will, that they must stop me by force if necessary. Beyond my comrades, numerous true immortals are laughing joyfully. And Hong Fan is using formless poison to enter my consciousness, attempting to stabilize me as a representative. But I smile brightly. Tell them, not to worry. I always feel sorry toward my comrades. There are too many times when I don't even have the time to explain properly. This moment is no different. From now on, I will. Master. No. Seo Un-yun. Hong Fan's eyes flip as he charges toward me. In an instant, he invades the depths of my heart essence and grabs hold of the something synchronized with me. My refining void dharma treasure, now refined to the level of an immortal treasure, my memory storage. It is the colorless glass sword. Hong Fan, grasping the colorless glass sword, which is no different from the essence of my glass true fire, screams as if in a fit. Please stop. Stop this right now. What you are trying to do right now is madness. Do not do it. Have you forgotten what this means to you? But even he cannot stop me. I shall, truly go against the world. No. Quaching. I extend my will and shatter my colorless glass sword with a single strike of my own hand. It is not only the colorless glass sword. All of my canvas of myriad forms and connections within it are crushed. All the personalities and fragments of myself that were embedded inside are destroyed and turned to dust. I see Hong Fan screaming in a frenzy. Why would you do this? Is this not your memory, Master? Is this not your history? As I feel all my memories scatter, I smile. Do not worry, Hong Fan. This shall become the true path to escape from the bridle. Even if I lose my history, I shall embrace my heart properly. The colorless glass sword is the very history of myself, created by Buk Hyunghwa. At the same time, it is the collection of all my heartfelt attachments that have followed me my entire life. Without a doubt, it is the sword that proves who I am. But at the same time, it is also the bridle that restrains me. Pong, pbobiobong. Countless fragments of the canvas of myriad forms and connections begin to explode outward. Hong Fan flails his hand in panic, trying to grasp the shattered pieces. What are you doing? In the end, isn't this an act of losing yourself? You will no longer be you. But nothing lands in Hong Fan's hands. Hong Fan, I continue speaking without losing my smile. With every word I utter, memories scatter further. However, this is not necessarily because the canvas of myriad forms and connections is breaking apart, but rather because I am simply aligning the mind of my reincarnated self with a standard to faithfully play my role. All things that possess form, eventually must wither. Even if form withers, was it not your very intention in creating the canvas of myriad forms and connections to preserve that history? Even if it is a cradle of repeating memories, is it not something you should cherish and hold close? Hong Fan, listen. I gently close my eyes. Only now do I realize. Of course, there is still so much to comprehend, and I remain far too lacking. Even so, this much I have come to understand. I recall the enlightenment I gained while observing GWAKAM's heart, watching as they try to achieve repentant enlightenment across the entire world. And I share that with Hong Fan. GWAKAM realized that, in the end, I would not come to hate them. Why do you think that is? The great mountain supreme deity is, in some ways, terrifying to a chilling degree. Even if they couldn't read my canvas of myriad forms and connections, they read what lies within me. To the family of the Wuji religious order, I feel sorry for saying this, but there was once a person I hated more than the great mountain supreme deity. It was Yuan Li. The number of people Yuan Li killed was fewer than the Wuji religious order, and the divine power he showed compared to the great mountain supreme deity was that of a bug. But why did I hate him more than the great mountain supreme deity? Because I had been far younger than when I lost the Wuji religious order. I had yet to properly cultivate my heart, had not endured countless years, and was still a green novice. So even though I lost more during the time of the great mountain supreme deity, it was during the time of Yuan Li that I nearly fell into true corruption, unable to restrain my heart. Most of all, the biggest difference between the time of Yuan Li and the time of the great mountain supreme deity, was Buk Hyunghwa. Was what I just gave you, also a curse? That single sentence, and the final kiss we shared, it still has not faded from within my heart. Even if I were to be cast into isolation and spend time alone equivalent in years to the number of grains of sand of the Ganges River 10 sextillion, that alone I would never be able to forget. The heart she gave me became my support. Even when the entire canvas of myriad forms and connections was completely shattered by the great mountain supreme deity, that alone I was unable to forget. That is why, even though I poured out curses in that cycle, I did not end up fundamentally twisted as I nearly did during the time of Yuan Li. A person's heart, and the great mountain supreme deity GWAKM must have come to know this in the end. Of course, it's not as if they pierced through my heart through pure martial doctrine like me, Kim Young-hoon, or Hyeon Mu. From the beginning, the supervisory eye bestowed upon Hunwon was theirs. When it comes to immortal arts that pierce through things, they already reach the peak. Never disappears. I shout what I have realized. GWAKM likely did not see clearly. They probably merely saw the support that Buk Hyung-wha left within my heart, and tried, using petty, dirty tricks, to tear it down through whatever means. But rather, it is thanks to GWAKM that I have come to understand. The heart never disappears, and nothing can truly contain the heart. Pardon, I was mistaken. I thought that by reenacting those moments through my clones, by continuing them endlessly, the hearts from that time would also become eternal. But now I know. No. Perhaps I should say I've revisited the truth once more. TL notes. The word, revisited, in this case is the same word as inverted. I smile brightly with my eyes closed. Had I not already realized it when I rose to 5 energies converging to the origin? A person's heart is infinite. Nothing can truly express what the heart is. Not established by words or speech Uli Wi and Z. That is why, even with the canvas of myriad forms and connections, it is impossible to express or properly remember the boundless hearts I received. Form will disappear, but those very hearts will remain within me, unwithering, and they will shape who I am. What does that even? Only now do I understand. Among my many realms, I scatter and begin to recondense the heavenly being stage. The cultivation of the heavenly being stage never needed madness. Gathering madness in the cultivation of the heavenly being stage was merely to prevent a person's mind from being consumed and perishing by the vast nature of heaven and earth. To keep the mind from being swept away by the nature of heaven and earth, one concentrates a part of it to the extreme. That is the cultivation of the heavenly being stage. But I have the canvas of myriad forms and connections. As I scatter this, which makes up the greatest part of my madness, I come to realize. A person's heart itself is the most bizarre and mysterious embodiment created by heaven and earth. By its very existence, it is not inferior to the nature of heaven and earth. Pasasasasasa. As the canvas of myriad forms and connections scatters, my very realm scatters, and my very existence begins to scatter and disappear. As I melt into the world, I begin cultivating the flawless mantra. Gradually, my memories as me submerge, and I become a new existence. I see Hong Fan fidgeting restlessly. Master, why are you? That is the last thing I see before I fully melt into the world. Pot, the body of this lifetime, in the form of a black hole of the universe, explodes completely. Scattering into countless fragments of light, I melt throughout the entirety of the Purple Lotus realm. At the same time, the color of the entire Purple Lotus realm changes. The color of the Purple Lotus realm, once like a purple lotus flower, turns white. The space, once corroded by the chaos of the inner sea beyond the heavenly domain, is now eroded again by my very existence. What was once the world of Purple Lotus is now becoming the world of White Magnolia. The scattered colorless glass sword and the canvas of myriad forms and connections dye the world. At the same time, I, who was born as an innate true immortal, am reborn as an entering nirvana true person in a corner of the Purple Lotus realm. Tukwang. From beyond a distant star cluster, a heaven upper immortal under black dragon throws a single strike that pierces through me. Kwang. I am pierced and annihilated by that single strike. But even as I vanish, I smile. Though I have no memory, I can smile with nothing but the heart engraved within my chest. Until now, the will I held while cultivating the flawless mantra was, to grow stronger for everyone's goal. In a way, a rather vague will. But now, only now does this will change. To something far simpler, yet far more powerful. Protect the family. That one will alone. At the same time, I, now dead, become a sacrificial offering that twists the very laws of the world. Kurururung. Along with my death, my will envelops my comrades. Already powerful to begin with, my comrades are now protected by the power of the White Magnolia world, and within this realm, they become even closer to invincible. With that, I close my eyes. That is my 501st reincarnation. Do you remember who I am? Someone asks from in front of me. Wearing a dark blue robe, radiating a strength now at the level of a judge. She looks at me and asks. No memory comes to mind. It feels like the storage vault where I once held memories had burst open. My mind feels like a blank sheet of paper. But I smile. Even if I have no memories, this heart is surely within me. The heart the being before me once gave me is still here inside. The moment I recall her, every memory I shared with her resurfaces. At the same time, centered around those memories of her, all of my memories revive as well. Quote. Don't worry, as long as you are all by my side, I will never forget. I smile brightly at her. The canvas of myriad forms and connections is not destroyed. Its form has merely changed. From a mist only I can see, it has become a flawless garment that truly resides within my family, protecting them. The canvas of myriad forms and connections and the colorless glass sword have changed. From tools that merely revisited my failures and remembered old memories, they have now become a true sword that brings miracles into reality and protects my family. The canvas of myriad forms and connections has merged with the flawless mantra, becoming both bridle and law that is worn upon the family I wish to protect. Yes, an immortal crown. What I gave to my comrades is practically an immortal crown forged from the will of my sacrifice. The myriad forms and the flawless have met to form the immortal crown. It is said that the immortal crowns existing in this world are created through the origin controlled by supreme deities and heavenly venerables. Then, what is the origin of the immortal crowns I have bestowed upon them? Surely, it is the hearts we have exchanged. As long as the hearts my comrades gave me remain, as long as they are by my side, I will protect them, and as long as I seek to protect them, I will never forget them. Even if the form known as memory is forgotten, the heart alone will remain and pave the way for my fate. Didn't you not give me an immortal crown, senior brother? Thinking of Gwakam, who must be somewhere in the outer sea, I slowly embrace Kong Minhee. Thud, our foreheads touch for a moment. A heart of pure affection, without lust or desire, is conveyed to her. At the same time, the form of my immortal crown clearly reveals itself. Then I don't need one, senior brother. I will make my own. However, I will not wear it myself. Pot, it is a paper flower. I don't need what is given by someone else. As long as I have something to give to my family, that is enough. A white magnolia and a quince flower, two paper flowers, are threaded together. Extending from behind Kong Minhee's head in several strands, they wrap around her body and attach themselves to various parts of her clothing. Because, just by becoming my family, I've already received grace that must be repaid by scattering the immortal crown to protect. Royal bestowed flower Iosawa Usiwa. Just by repaying that retribution. Just by giving and receiving hearts and forming a connection. The immortal crown created through the canvas of myriad forms and connections and the flawless mantra, born from the hearts and connections given and received, takes the form of a royal bestowed flower suited to each individual. I have already donned the greatest immortal crown called connection. Having fully gifted the royal bestowed flowers upon my family, I now begin to step forward boldly into the next life. From now on, I will lose my memories often, but it doesn't matter. If, until now, my memories remained undying as long as the colorless glass sword existed. Then from this moment on, with its form shattered and fully embraced within my heart, my memories will remain undying so long as my family is by my side. And thus, I begin to carry on the true cultivation of flawlessness. Translator notes. Royal bestowed flower Iosawa Usiwa as a paper flower bestowed upon those who passed the civil exam during the Joseon dynasty. I recommend searching it up to see what it looks like. Chapter 625, Royal Authority 1. I die. I am reborn. I recall my family. I offer myself as a sacrificial offering for the sake of my family. The more I offer, the safer my family becomes. I repeat the actions above. And the power of the immortal art that arises from offering myself as a sacrificial offering is, in itself, akin to an innate true immortal. Therefore, this can rightfully be called the cultivation of Yang Pitch. However, as I continue to offer myself as a sacrifice for my comrades, my cultivation realm gradually falls. Yet even as my cultivation falls, my heart to sacrifice only grows greater, so no matter how many times I die, the Yang Pitch cultivation is never left undone. Every time, I offer myself as a sacrificial offering, layering the immortal art that protects my family, even going as far as consuming the fortune I've accumulated to create an innate true immortal. The stronger the protective power becomes, the more my fortune diminishes, and the more my cultivation drops. 550th cycle, I reach the sacred vessel stage. But I do not care. No matter how many times I die and am reborn, what I must do is clear. Protect my family. My comrades willingly became my family and protected me. Now I shall protect them. Regardless of how many times I die. The more I die, and the more I layer the power of the immortal crown upon them, the weaker the power of the true immortals coming from outside becomes. Of course, even with that weakened strength, I die endlessly, but it doesn't matter. Because now, even if I die and die again, I will only keep strongly protecting my comrades. I constantly recite the flawless mantra, protecting what I wish to protect by my own will, not as a component of the world. And because that goes against the principles of the world, my mastery of the flawless mantra continues to rise without end. 600th cycle. My cultivation falls to the star-shattering stage. Before I know it, the attacks of the true immortals barely reach me anymore. But why is it? I keep dying sudden deaths without ever reaching the end of my lifespan. It is not due to the attacks of true immortals, nor their prophecies, nor revision. In every life, I put all my effort to understanding the cause of these sudden deaths. Time flows and flows. And finally, the 666th cycle. The cultivation of the flawless mantra. Its end draws near. TSTSTSTSTSTs. My current cultivation has fallen to the integration stage. Originally, I could have gained sufficient authority through this and ended the cultivation of the flawless mantra here. But I do not do so. 666 past lives is, quite literally, the minimum unit. Through 666 reincarnations, one can gain substantial control over the flawless mantra. However, it cannot be fully mastered. Thus, I continue my cultivation in order to completely grasp the flawless mantra. The canvas of myriad forms and connections was absorbed into the flawless mantra and became an immortal crown. For the sake of my family, who have received the immortal crown from me, I cannot allow myself to leave the flawless mantra unmastered. Kurururung. Then, when I have reached the end of my 666th life. Single quote. This is. Before I know it, I realize I have arrived at a strange place. Yet, it is also a familiar place. This place, yes, a place filled with a crimson sea of blood and a mountain of corpses. It's the corpse mountain blood sea. I become aware of the one who summoned me into this world. Quote. So it was you, oh High Co. A familiar woman sits before me. And behind me, I hear the heavy breath of a sinister presence. You were the one who pushed them to attack us. In front of me is Oh High Co, and behind me is the true body of the immortal beast Black Dragon. That's right, from the very beginning, Black Dragon had not simply attacked us. They came, after joining hands with Oh High Co to kill us. Oh High Co smiles with gloomy eyes. Yeah, that's right, I hate you, Co Unyun. Because you killed Co Wayol, and because the great mountain supreme deity has been constantly making a fit, telling me to shove the corpse mountain blood sea into your mouth. That's why while you were cultivating the flawless mantra, I joined hands with Black Dragon and made them attack you. I tried to shove the corpse mountain blood sea down your throat while you were reincarnating. Of course, if there was a problem, it's that I didn't expect the others to become that strong. Quote. I calmly look at Oh High Co. Quote. Oh High Co. What? I see. So that is your tainted soul filling the heavens. I glance at Oh High Co's shadow and let out a bitter smile. Her shadow is not her own. It clearly belongs to a man with deer antlers. Yes, her shadow belongs to Co Wayol. You used tainted soul filling the heavens as a medium to summon me to this place. It's ironic. Oh High Co, who once longed so desperately to revive Co Wayol, has long surpassed Co Wayols in terms of tainted soul filling the heavens. Even I didn't even realize I was afflicted by tainted soul filling the heavens until I saw that shadow. I see. You tied a piece of tainted soul filling the heavens to Black Dragon and attached it to me when I inherited the bloodline of the Black Dragon race and became their crown prince in my second life. That's right. And the tainted soul filling the heavens has been constantly clinging to me all along and followed me. The recent unexplained sudden deaths I experienced were also. Yeah, even for you, this would have been impossible to detect. Your sudden deaths were the result of me and Black Dragon combining our strength. It is no wonder I didn't realize. Her tainted soul filling the heavens, evolved through Co Wayol's inheritance. Moves in a manner extremely similar to the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag. Once it clings to a target, it fully merges with them. But once it merges, it no longer listens to the original master's commands. Instead, the original owner imprints a single command into the tainted soul filling the heavens, and as time passes, that command becomes more deeply etched into the assimilated target. That is what I uncovered in my past life about Oh High Co's tainted soul filling the heavens. While I was trapped in the crystal glass realm by Hyeon Mu, she only embedded tainted soul filling the heavens into Inyi's family. Because of that, I could not sense its secrecy, but now that I've experienced it firsthand, I understand. Her tainted soul filling the heavens has already evolved far beyond Seo Whales. I smile bitterly as I watch her. Oh hi Seo, wasn't your goal to resurrect Seo Whale? That's right. Quote. Then you'll never be able to bring Seo Whale back to life. At my words, Oh hi Seo's eyes twitch. But this isn't mere spiteful talk. It is a truth visible to my eyes, who has reached a considerable level in triple divinity. That is, Seo Whale, who is tainted soul filling the heavens itself, has already died and reincarnated somewhere else. And the tainted soul filling the heavens, which could at least be called a remnant of Seo Whale, has evolved and become completely different from the original Seo Whale. The more Oh hi Seo runs around trying to resurrect Seo Whale, the more her tainted soul filling the heavens evolves and deviates from the original Seo Whale. And the more this continues, the exponentially lower the chance becomes that, even if she finds Seo Whale's spirit someday, she'll be able to restore the Seo Whale of that time. I'm giving you advice, oh. Hi Seo, if you want to resurrect Seo Whale, let go of your obsession with him. At least for you, letting go of him will help you bring him back. Quote. Shut up. Immediately after, Oh hi Seo's corpse mountain blood sea moves and lashes at me. My main body is still in the purple lotus realm, now transformed into the white magnolia realm, and I've been pulled here in the middle of cultivating the flawless mantra, so the power of my spirit is only at the integration stage. It feels like I'll be shattered to pieces by that immense force. But it's useless. I operate triple divinity with extreme precision, fully perceiving all the hearts within that immense force, and let the power flow past me completely. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. It's useless, Oh hi Seo. You cannot harm me, Wu Wang. At least, within the immortal Tao of the mountain, she cannot dare to harm me. Enough with the pointless mental warfare. Just tell me what you want. Swaririk. I meticulously refine my intent to the utmost and shoot it into Oh hi Seo's heart. Her very origin as a true immortal falls into my grasp in an instant. I don't like you. The emotions I feel toward you are, at best, irritation, annoyance, and disgust. Ever since I found out you were the one controlling Black Dragon from behind, all I've felt toward you is the urge to kill you on the spot. Right now, if I so wished, I could inflict a fatal wound on her. So, don't try anything. The only reason I am not attacking you is because you are Yun Sok Hung Nim's niece. Quote. Quote. Perhaps realizing that, Oh hi Seo's face twitches. Quote. Yeah, the gap between us just doesn't seem to close. Even though your actual cultivation should only be at the peak of upper immortal, to think you are at this level. Fine, I'll tell you my goal. At her next words, I realize what's been happening in Mount Sumeru. Some time ago, the Radiance Hall that returned from the outer sea began to go on a rampage. Right now, they are waging war against the entire Sumeru Three Heavens Great Thousand Worlds, destroying countless true immortals. Quote. Quote. Though the Radiance 8 Immortals and Radiance Hall are still allied for now, according to Black Dragon, once Radiance Hall comes into contact with the truth of Radiance Hall, even they will eventually turn away from the Radiance 8 Immortals. However, a revelation came from the Great Mountain Supreme Deity. She smiles unsettlingly and looks up at the sky. Radiance Hall or whatever, all of Mount Sumeru or whatever. They say it is all meaningless against the true power of the Radiance 8 Immortals. If the Heavenly Venerable of Time were still around, there might have been a possibility, but with just the two Heavenly Venerables of Void and Sal Tree, there's no way to stand against the Radiance 8 Immortals. So, I coldly look at her and ask, what are you saying? That my comrades and I should join the war against the Radiance 8 Immortals? I speak firmly. If that is what you're about to ask, then I refuse. I will never put my family in danger. Quote. Family, huh? Oh hi Seo makes a gloomy expression at my words and lets out a sneer. You're obsessed with something meaningless. Think whatever you want. Ho ho, well, fine. But it's not the kind of request you're worried about. It's something else entirely. The Great Mountain Supreme Deity said this. That if we end up fighting the Radiance 8 Immortals, the reason we would lose is because we only have two Heavenly Venerables. They said that if there were three Heavenly Venerables, we might have a chance, but with just two, it's impossible. Which means, in the end, we just need one more Heavenly Venerable. So you're saying, you intend to call upon the Heavenly Venerable of Time? Or involve the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld? Ah ha ha, still such poor imagination. Or rather, should I say it's because of your lack of knowledge that your imagination is so limited? Ohaisio chuckles and speaks. We will exalt the heavenly venerable. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. And the candidate has already been decided. Warurururuk. Before I know it, Black Dragon's true body, which had been behind me, flies over to Ohaiseo's side and transforms. Their transformation form, cloaked in darkness, wraps an arm around Ohaiseo's shoulders and lifts her chin. She is truly such a lovely child, Kukuk. If only she weren't the disciple of the great mountain supreme deity, I would have formed a Tao companion bond with her right away. What a shame. As I read the hearts between the two of them, I understand their thoughts. Yes, it is this immortal. This immortal shall become a heavenly venerable. Thus, we shall win the war ignited by the Radiance 8 immortals, and together with the power of the other heavenly venerables, one day block the great mountain supreme deity who will invade Mount Sumeru, and rule all of Mount Sumeru under this immortal's authority seat. The glorious enthronement of the great black dragon, this girl longs for it with all her heart. Ohaisio, with the enraptured expression of a girl in love, seductively caresses the transformation form enveloped in darkness. I sneer as I watch the two of them. Their hearts grip blades, pressing it into the other's mouth, while they speak words of affection with their lips alone. It isn't even like the relationship between Sio Waol and Ohaisio. Between Sio Waol and her, at the very least they valued each other. Black Dragon, however, sees Ohaisio as nothing more than a pill they plan to consume someday. And Ohaisio thinks only of using Black Dragon's body as a vessel to one day resurrect Sio Waol. Quote. Enough with the flirting, just explain. I turn to Black Dragon and ask. Oh Black Dragon, at best, you seem to be at the level of an immortal lord. And you don't seem close to being a supreme deity. Yet in that state, how do you expect to become a heavenly venerable? Should you not be first preparing for your enthronement as a supreme deity? Why are you already making this laughable claim about becoming a heavenly venerable? Ha ha ha, indeed, to someone who knows nothing, it may look that way. Quote. Question mark quote. Allow me to enlighten you. Heavenly venerables and supreme deities, in truth, are a little different from the usual concept of realms. From the mouth of Black Dragon, the explanation of the heavenly venerable realm begins. Chapter 626, Royal Authority 2. Heavenly venerables and supreme deities are not realms. Correct, or more precisely, they are technically realms. Heavenly venerable being a higher realm than supreme deity is also true. However, it is slightly different from the concept of realms as we know them. It is a realm, but rather than a realm, it is closer to a position. Black Dragon continues explaining with a sinister glint in their eyes. The most accurate way to describe a heavenly venerable is a ruler who governs a nation. In other words, it is close to being a king. But one who does not require a successor and governs an eternal, undying nation. Then how is that different from a supreme deity? The difference between a supreme deity and a heavenly venerable is ultimately a matter of authority. Authority. If we compare it to your human race's concept of a nation, a supreme deity is a superhuman Chao Ren. A revered figure respected by the masses, someone who has achieved great accomplishments in a certain field and is acknowledged by all as the authority in that field. Then what is a heavenly venerable? A heavenly venerable is a divine human Xian Ren. Going beyond being respected by the masses, they are acknowledged by all, not only holding authority in a specific field but firmly instilling authority upon everyone, and being elevated as a ruler of the masses. From the explanation, it sounds like the difference between a university professor and a politician. If a supreme deity is one who has completely seized an origin essence, a heavenly venerable is a being who has gone beyond that and accepted the power of all of Sumeru. Ultimately, that's what it is. Black Dragon grins with ambition gleaming in their eyes. If one engraves their feats upon Mount Sumeru and accepts its power, then even without becoming a supreme deity, one can become a heavenly venerable directly from the level of an immortal lord. Quote. Exclamation mark. Is that really possible? Of course. There are representative examples. Isn't the true martial great emperor Hyeon Mu such a case? Look at Hyeon Mu. Though they are merely in the realm of a heaven and earth great net, they follow the heaven path of radiance, and the earth path of underworld, and through the immortal crowns received from each ruler, they exert the power of an immortal lord. With that alone, they engraved their feats and became a heavenly venerable, did they not? Quote. Even at the level of an immortal lord, if one engraves their feats, they can become a heavenly venerable. Of course, compared to becoming a heavenly venerable as a supreme deity, this is unorthodox. However, this immortal is not the first who has attempted such a path. Black Dragon spreads their arms wide, laughing maniacally. Those who reach Heavenly Venerable through the unorthodox in this way, they are all called Heavenly Kings. The Obsidian Devil Heavenly King who gave birth to the Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity of the Twin holding Heavenly Domain. The recently fallen Tridacna Vast Cold Heavenly King. All those Heavenly Kings are ones who reach the realm of governing immortal through the unorthodox method. However, unlike Hyaon Mu, who endured long in that position and truly engraved themselves upon the world, the others quickly fell. Quote. This immortal is different. This immortal shall rise to the seat of a heavenly king, endure in that position, continue engraving this immortal's feats upon Mount Sumeru, and like Hyaon Mu, rise to the genuine seat of a heavenly venerable. Black Dragon clenches their fists, trembling. Come, join hands with this immortal. When you witness this immortal's rise to heavenly venerable, you too may find hope. One day, you may also establish feats and prepare your path to rise as a heavenly venerable. Quote. I look at Black Dragon for a moment. Leaving aside the fact that they don't seem to know much about the Seven Brilliances Kings, they also seem unfamiliar with Hyaon Mu's triple divinity, so I have no idea how to respond. Yet for some reason, not just Black Dragon, but even Ohai Seo, who could have sought wisdom from the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, seems to affirm Black Dragon's goal. Leaving aside things like the Seven Brilliances Kings and triple divinity, what that guy is saying doesn't seem wrong. It seems somewhat true that by engraving one's feats upon Mount Sumeru, one can receive its power and become a heavenly venerable. Her authority is fundamentally about discerning the truth and mocking it, so I suppose part of it should be true. However, even if their words are true, there is something that must be addressed. Do not misunderstand. Wing, I gather the jade of yin-yang and 5 elements before my eyes within. Indifferent gaze. Previously, I had already mastered more than 90% of the phenomena extinguishing mantra, and now I stand on the verge of complete control. Now, I no longer need to recite the mantra. The power of the mantra activates in response to my will alone. Shwiriririk. At the same time, the power of the flawless mantra, accumulated over 666 cycles, begins to rotate around the jade of the phenomena extinguishing mantra. The phenomena extinguishing mantra and the flawless mantra. Sensing the two mantras, Black Dragon and Ohai Seo widen their eyes and raise their auras. Quirurururung. As two beings at the great immortal rank and above begin to draw upon their power, reality starts distorting violently, and the surrounding flow of history begins to be crushed. But I divert all their pressure through triple divinity. No matter how much they distort reality or crush the flow of history, they cannot affect me in the slightest. I continue speaking calmly. You lot have killed me throughout hundreds of lives and threatened my family. The only reason I'm even pretending to listen to your stories right now is simply because that Ohai Seo over there is the partner of my fellow Taoist and the niece of my brother. Wake up, Black Dragon. Ku-gu-gu-gu-gu-gu. The power of flawlessness and phenomena extinguishing responding to my will begins to distort the very space-time of the corpse mountain blood sea that Ohai Seo summoned me to. You unbelievable. What is this mastery of the phenomena extinguishing mantra? How can the phenomena extinguishing mantra be bowing its head so deeply to a mere upper immortal? Ohai Seo is aghast, and even Black Dragon takes a half step back with an awkward laugh. My realm may be that of a heaven-earth upper immortal, but if I bring my main body here, I am more than confident that I could beat you bastards to death right now. Of course, if Ohai Seo stays in the Earth Axis heavenly domain and pursues a defensive battle with GWAKAM's trash, it might be difficult, but for someone like you, Black Dragon, I'm more than confident I can come find you anytime and crush you bit by bit. Haha. Sorry to say, but this immortal's immortal vein is quite extensive. If you try to harm this immortal, countless true immortals will. Silence. I cut them off coldly, my face like ice. There used to be someone named Seo Weol. Your weight class, vision, and experience may be a bit broader and deeper than his, but your fundamental scheming and insidiousness doesn't even come close to a fraction of his. And I fought and won against such a person. Even if you band together with a few true immortals and try to take me on, someone like you doesn't scare me in the slightest. Though Ohai Seo's face remains unchanged at my words, I can see her heart essence shaking violently. Black Dragon, on the other hand, seems to take a blow to their pride and glares at me with a furious voice. Seo Weol, are you comparing this immortal to some unheard of piece of trash? This immortal is the Yin Dragon, Yin Long, of the universe. The one who governs great Yin Tai Yin, the one who will one day become a heavenly venerable. The entire universe dances in the palm of this immortal's hand. rivaling even that of the fallen guiding envoy of the final age of Dharma Purple Gold Heavenly Lord. This immortal is the shadow of Mount Sumeru itself. And yet, with what confidence do you dare insult this immortal with the name of such trash? Quote. I glance briefly at Ohisio. As expected, her expression remains unchanged, but her gaze has deepened. Her once slightly chilling demeanor now seems utterly devoid of emotion. With a doll-like smile, her heart essence burns with a hatred toward Black Dragon that is difficult to describe with words. Quote. Please stop there, Senior Black Dragon. No matter what, we need to persuade him, don't we? She smiles subtly with lifeless eyes and seductively leans into Black Dragon's arms, whispering. My apologies. This immortal got a little agitated, having my pride provoked using the name of some unknown mortal. Quote. Ohisio only smiles slightly and burrows deeper into Black Dragon's embrace. Let us return to the previous discussion. Very well, first, I offer an apology for attacking you and your comrades. However, none of your companions have been harmed thus far, and you yourself were in the midst of cultivating the flawless mantra, so you did not die. I ask for your understanding. If you were displeased, I will provide compensation later. Quote. Well, I suppose I'm ready to talk a little now. Good, thank you. Then allow me to properly propose a deal. Black Dragon extends their hand toward me. This immortal knows the advancement ritual of the Heavenly Venerable of Void. And through that advancement ritual, this immortal has also created another advancement ritual suited to this immortal. And if you, who have cultivated the flawless mantra, and Ohisio, who possesses the corpse mountain blood sea and has cultivated the phenomena extinguishing mantra, assist me, then this immortal can reenact the advancement ritual devised in reference to that of the Heavenly Venerable of the Void and rise to the position of a Heavenly Venerable. The Heavenly Venerable of Voids. Heavenly Venerable Advancement Ritual. And you're saying you've made your own ritual as well? Are the advancement rituals different for each Heavenly Venerable? That seems to be the case. The most orthodox method is the world devouring of the Heavenly Venerable of Time and the Sal Tree Heavenly Venerable. It is the process of endlessly devouring the beings of the immortal family residing in Mount Sumeru over time. If one continues to devour the beings of the immortal family, and eventually devours the very system of immortal cultivation itself, one can then merge with the system and rise to become a Heavenly Venerable. Then what about the Heavenly Venerable of the underworld? That being's method is unknown even to this immortal. They are far too ancient. All I know is that their method is completely different from that of Void, Time, or Sal Tree. Is that so? Then, what is the advancement ritual of the Heavenly Venerable of Void? Black Dragon smiles faintly and begins to speak. And upon hearing the Heavenly Venerable advancement ritual of the Heavenly Venerable of Void, I am horrified. Quote. Exclamation mark. What is that? He. Is it not horrifying? Compared to simply devouring beings of the immortal family or a part of the world like Sal Tree or Time, this is an utterly deranged advancement ritual beyond comparison. Quote. Only now do I understand why the Heavenly Venerable of Void is specialized in the triple divinity of destruction. The Heavenly Venerable of Void. The advancement ritual of the true martial great Emperor Hyeon Mu is as follows. One uses one's own power to wage war against the entirety of Mount Sumeru. Then, after killing or driving out all beings within Mount Sumeru into the outer sea, one turns the inside of Mount Sumeru into a world of emptiness where no one remains. It matters not whether they are governing immortals, true immortals, mortals, or microorganisms. After annihilating or expelling all things of all phenomena outside the world and reducing the entire world to nothingness, one recognizes themselves as the sole existence within and commits suicide, embodying the emptiness that blankets the whole of Mount Sumeru. By doing so, a law is inscribed upon Mount Sumeru, and the one who completes that ritual becomes a Heavenly Venerable. Quote. Faced with such an utterly deranged method of advancement, I can only be dumbfounded. But then, I suddenly notice a strange contradiction in their words. What is it? Something about what they said doesn't make logical sense. However, no matter how hard I think, I can't figure out what the contradiction is. For now, I decide to firmly remember that there is a contradiction, and speak to Black Dragon. So, are you saying we need to wage war against all of Mount Sumeru? Of course not. This immortal is not a madman like the true martial great emperor. Didn't this immortal say there is a ritual this immortal created in reference to voids? Black Dragon speaks with a sinister smile. I have investigated Hyeon Emu's advancement ritual for tens of millions of years. And as a result, I have come to understand. There is no need to perform an advancement ritual on the scale of High-On Emus. It can be on a somewhat smaller scale. Ho, all living beings of Mount Sumeru. Except for true immortals and governing immortals, all mortal beings shall be annihilated. Then, upon that dead land where no living beings remain, this immortal shall once again cause life to flourish. Quote. This immortal shall recreate all living beings across all of Mount Sumeru. This immortal shall redraw the blueprint of all life on Mount Sumeru and inscribe this great feat upon it. Though it may not compare to High-On Mu, who expelled even all beings of the immortal family, even this much is enough for this immortal to become a heavenly venerable. Black Dragon smiles with gleaming eyes, their mouths stretching and ripping. Join hands with this immortal. The advancement ritual of this great Yin pitch Da Yin Lu, which shall drive all races in Mount Sumeru to extinction, is only possible when the Radiance 8 immortals and all the true immortals are distracted, fighting in battle. Quote. You are the only one since that time to achieve great completion in the mantra of the Obsidian Devil Heavenly King. If it's you, even though you may not be able to recreate the immortal art of the Obsidian Devil Heavenly King, you will be able to control the Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity. If Ohicio triggers the Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity using the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea, and you control the rampaging Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity, then this immortal in Ohicio can draw in only the mortal beings of Mount Sumeru, making the extinction of all its living beings possible. Extinguish life, and witness the rebirth of all living beings under the hands of this immortal. Black Dragon suddenly seems to shift their form in the darkness, then approaches me with the bewitching voice of a woman, whispering. We can obtain everything. The time is only now, when the Great War of Radiance Hall is waging and the Great Mountain Supreme Deity is trying to forge their mantra of madness. If not during this era of chaos, there will be no other chance to bring extinction upon the living of Mount Sumeru. What do you desire? Take this immortal's hand. This immortal will become a king. As if trying to seduce me, they whisper in the voices of men, women, beasts, elderly, and even that of grasshoppers. Until now, all the heavenly venerables of Mount Sumeru have reigned but not ruled. What kind of nonsense is that? Sitting atop the heads of all living beings, toying with them while presiding over their life and death, yet having no concern in the justice of Mount Sumeru. In truth, it has only been the deranged Radiance 8 immortals who have ruled Mount Sumeru. But their ideology, you know it, too, do you not? They are mad, trampling upon the entire immortal family and cultivation. They are lunatics who believe that only their 8 immortals represent justice and that they can eternally carry out the rule of sage kings. That is why, if this immortal becomes a heavenly venerable, this immortal shall not only reign, but rule. Black Dragon becomes a river of darkness, and envelops me, groping at my body and spirit. But unlike the mad Radiance 8 immortals, I will not pursue their kind of goal. I shall rule the world with justice as my sole purpose. If the Radiance 8 immortals realize their ultimate goal, no one will be able to control them. But if this immortal becomes king, then the other heavenly venerables will remain, and so will the governing immortals. This immortal can be controlled. So, help me. Beyond the river of darkness groping my spirit, something falls into my grasp. That is the core of this immortal, the key that can detonate all of this immortal's prophecies and revisions at once. You could say it is the heart of this immortal. I will give it to you. If you ever find this immortal's plan displeasing, detonate it. This immortal only wishes to protect Mount Sumeru, the cradle of all, from the mad Radiance 8 immortals, and the even madder Great Mountain Supreme Deity. Shururururuk. Having finished speaking, Black Dragon returns to their transformation form of darkness and stands beside Ohicio. Please, accept our proposal. If you accept, then we will no longer have any reason to attack you or your comrades. Did you not say you wanted to protect your family? If you truly wish to protect your family and yourself, then this immortal's proposal is surely of value. Please, help us and let us realize justice together. They spread their arms wide, shouting as if pleading. Please, allow this immortal to attain royal authority, Wang Quan. This immortal shall become King Wang for true justice and goodness. Quote. I look at the thing in my hand that is called the heart of Black Dragon. I feel it. Contained within is immense evidence of Black Dragon's history, revision, and prophecy. I can't say for sure whether detonating what's inside will truly kill Black Dragon, but it is clear that it will cause serious damage. If I had only seen this, I might have believed they were truly pleading for the safety and justice of Sumeru Mountain. But in the next moment, I crushed Black Dragon's heart without hesitation. Quaching. As this lump containing Black Dragon's prophecy and revision bursts apart, the space of the Corpse Mountain and Blood Sea and the entirety of Mount Sumeru seems to vibrate. I look at Black Dragon. Black Dragon's eyes have turned as cold as ice. And they are completely unharmed. I see that and sneer. I could barely stand hearing your bullshit from earlier, but I listened to the end, wondering if there might have been a shred of sincerity. But really, there's not a single bit of sincerity in you. Duke. I dust off my hand that crushed Black Dragon's heart and speak. The heart Black Dragon spoke of definitely exists. It really is something connected to their prophecy, revision, and the powers to their life. But the one given to me was merely a heart replicated by Ohai Seo's authority of truth manipulation. Because I have some understanding of her authority, I could tell from the beginning that this bastard was lying. From start to finish, I make sacrifices, Ohai Seo makes sacrifices, all the beings of Mount Sumeru make sacrifices, and you don't sacrifice a damn thing. I thought maybe you'd at least be willing to wager your own life, but even that was a fake life created using Ohai Seo's power. Without sacrificing a single thing, grinding down everything except yourself, you dare speak of goodness, dare speak of being king. I glare at Black Dragon with a furious expression. Don't make me laugh. That is no king. You will never become king. As I think of Seo Weol, who once called himself the Sea Dragon King and in the end was ready to stake everything he had, I shout at this trash before me, who is even worse than him. Your disgusting plan will never be realized. For you will die by my hand. Haha, you've gone mad. No matter if you possess the phenomena extinguishing mantra and the flawless mantra, you are merely in a state of a spirit summoned into Ohai Seo's domain. Yet to this great Yin True Lord Black Dragon, you dare. Kwang. The next moment, I immediately rush at Black Dragon and grip their essence, then hurl them away violently. Black Dragon crashes into the Blood Sea, unable to even resist my strike. Wing. Behind me, a pure white circle appears. Normally, achieving great completion in the flawless mantra causes a black circle to appear, but in my case, the color is completely opposite for some reason. Of course, it doesn't really matter. I have yet to cultivate the flawless mantra enough to get a truly satisfying answer, but Uduk, Udududuk, just like what white-winged heavenly Pegasus once did. The power of the flawless mantra, the result of my history that has defied the principles of the world, begins to reverse the power of this world inside the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea. The authority of the immortal cultivation system begins to be pushed out from this area. Ohai Seo is startled, and Black Dragon widens their eyes. All that remains in this world is pure strength, technique, and heart. In an instant, I nullify the majority of this world's authorities, clenching my fist with a crack. I've fulfilled the minimum of 666 times. Black Dragon reveals their main body. But I can read the fear behind their gaze. It doesn't seem like they are of the same era as the Obsidian Devil Heavenly King, but it appears they have seen that being's power through history induction or similar means. That can't be. You didn't even do the handstand properly from halfway through. There's no way you could use that being's power properly. This immortal has even interfered so much. I've always been doing the handstand. I'm doing it even now. No matter what fate I am born under, no matter what power I am born with, living without forgetting my heart. That is my handstand. I shall show you the power of the God of Gods. Chapter 627, Royal Authority 3. The immortal cultivation system is pushed back. However, it seems Black Dragon has not spent their years as an immortal beast in vain. They begin to rise, revealing their true form. Kururururung, a massive dragon of darkness, seemingly capable of coiling around an entire galaxy, reveals their body above the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea. At a size like this, the sheer scale alone becomes a weapon. Jjook. Black Dragon opens their mouth in the sky. At the same time, I kick off the Blood Sea and soar into the sky. Landing atop the scales of Black Dragon, which now cover the entire sky, I press my hand against their body to begin activating an immortal art. Perhaps because immortal arts predate the immortal cultivation system, it activates without issue. Kurururung. The jade of yin-yang and 5 elements begins gathering inside Black Dragon's body. The beam of light that's about to burst from Black Dragon's mouth extinguishes, and Black Dragon starts writhing in agony. Originally, the writhing alone would have been enough to annihilate a star cluster due to their size, but as the phenomena extinguishing mantra begins activating, Black Dragon's body starts to compress. Black Dragon tries to force explosions within their body to break out of the compression. But as soon as the power of the flawless mantra is added, Black Dragon begins to be compressed without resistance. Finally, compressed down to the size of a single planet, Black Dragon bares their fury and howls. You dare. It seems they are unleashing the full power of explosion that they've gained upon becoming a true lord. In this world where the immortal cultivation system has vanished, only 5 things remain possible. Immortal arts unfolded not through attraction force, but through pure heart. The fundamental power of explosion Black Dragon gained as an immortal beast. The power of the physical body obtained as an immortal beast. The authority of the origin essence gained as a true lord. And the unique energy system Black Dragon obtained during their time as a vestige liberation immortal. I've already embedded the phenomena extinguishing mantra inside their body to seal away both the power of explosion and the energy system, and even have the power of their physical body with the mantra. What remains is Black Dragon's immortal art, the power of the origin essence, and about half of their physical strength. And, I glance toward Ohiseo. She wears an angry expression and appears to be manipulating the corpse mountain blood sea against me. But it's just an act. I notice that she's using this opportunity to pour tainted soul filling the heavens into Black Dragon with force. As expected from a disciple of the great mountain supreme deity, she's now able to unfold tainted soul filling the heavens through her heart alone. Since Ohiseo is only pretending to attack me while actually locking a shackle around Black Dragon's neck, I don't interfere with her and fly toward Black Dragon. Shwaririk. Gripping the impermanent sword, I fly at Black Dragon and slice directly into their massive body. Black Dragon's divine blood splatters. But as soon as they are struck, Black Dragon shifts their posture in the void and lashes their long body toward me like a whip. Tukwong. Black Dragon spins instantly in the void and strikes me with their tail. Jjayong. Ohiseo's corpse mountain blood sea space distorts and tears apart from the single strike. This place is. Realizing where I've been flung, I click my tongue. Outside the twin holding heavenly domain. It's the inner sea. Without any prophecy, immortal art, or the help of chi, Black Dragon tore through space-time using only the power of their physical body and hurled me all the way outside the heavenly domain. Immediately after, Black Dragon rides the chaotic currents of the inner sea and flies toward me, mouth agape. Jjayok. Kwachijijik. In an instant, with their mouth wide open, they snap their jaws shut, attempting to chew and devour my spirit. I wedge the impermanent sword between their teeth, barely managing to create a gap and resist. Even rotten, an immortal lord is still an immortal lord. Without prophecy, revision, authority, or immortal art, they are still able to match me blow for blow through pure close combat alone. Compared to ordinary true immortals, they seem to have overwhelmingly more combat experience. Kadudududuk. Black Dragon's biting force grows stronger, and as I feel the pressure on the impermanent sword increasing, I smile. This is an immortal lord. At that moment, Black Dragon's voice resounds. You say I am not a king? Kwaduduk. You dare judge me? Tukwong. I slightly twist the power at the tip of the impermanent sword to deflect Black Dragon's biting force. In an instant, I slip free from Black Dragon's jaws, but they charge again, striking me with their front paw. Who instantly crash into the dimensional barrier of the twin holding heavenly domain, arrive at Ohiseo's space within it. What's wrong with a little sacrifice? Black Dragon thrusts their horn forward and charges at me. Tune. I swing the impermanent sword and redirect their charge, but even the shockwave alone shakes my spirit. Every being in this Sumeru 3 Heavens Great Thousand Worlds lives by sacrificing others. They don't want to be sacrificed, and they live to survive. Black Dragon spins their body and whips at me with their massive frame. I swing my sword upward again, repelling their body. Among all the countless lives and beings, only the ones who trample the weak and stand at the peak reign and rule over all. What is wrong with that? Why is that not considered a king? Black Dragon flies rapidly around me, looking for an opening. Wherever they move, space fails to endure the impact, causing space-time to distort. Tukwong, Tukwong, Tukwong. Black Dragon continues circling me, attacking with their tail, front paws, hind legs, teeth, and horns. But not a single blow lands. I perfectly read the heart of Black Dragon expressed through triple divinity, and counter and deflect every intention they carry. To reign and rule, to reach safely without risking oneself. Where is the fault in that you dare speak such nonsense? Even if you have cultivated the flawless mantra and gained power, that does not make you right. Do not delude yourself. Kurururung. Darkness begins to gather around Black Dragon. Murmur. A strange whisper echoes from somewhere. It's Black Dragon. That's a mantra. Black Dragon has begun reciting their own mantra. At the same time, the origin essence of Great Yin that the Great Yin True Lord Black Dragon has seized, exerts its power upon the world. Black Dragon is completely engulfed in darkness, and the world of the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea begins to be shrouded in a dark sky. Along with it, Black Dragon becomes even faster. Keying. This is. Black Dragon's Great Yin is beginning to freeze time. Time gradually slows, and Black Dragon only becomes faster. Born as a snake, I cultivated with all my being to become a member of the demon race, gained recognition among the snake race, and, to shed my skin and become a black snake revered by the snake race, I strived my entire life. I lacked talent and could not turn completely black. Still, I strived, and strived again. In the end, though I failed to become a black snake, I became an Amugi, then a true dragon, and succeeded in ascending. Black Dragon's body, upon close inspection, is not pure black but a faint dark blue hue. In that long passage of time that a mere young upper immortal like you could not possibly imagine. I clawed and crawled my way up and finally seized the seat of Great Yin to become the Great Yin True Lord. Life is but a continuation of struggle. To not have my life taken away, I have given it my all, and to not wager my life, to avoid risking it all, I have strived endlessly. And yet, for me to become king without sacrificing myself, what is so wrong about that? Kwang. Black Dragon's front paw slams into the flat of my impermanent sword. Their paw is severed, and from the shockwave, the sea within the space of the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea splits apart, and the mountains of corpses are cleaved. Considering that these aren't ordinary corpses, but rather a type of mantra made up of true immortals and equivalent beings, the power is overwhelming. I am king. I will become king. Even if I sacrifice others, even if I grind everything down, I will become king, reach the pinnacle, and reign. Someone like you has no right, none, to judge my failure. Zhejiang. The energy of Great Yin freezes heaven, earth, and heavens above. Just what are you, to dare judge a king? My spirit freezes. Even the impermanence sword slows in its movements. Darkness begins to bind me. This is the power of the origin essence. This is the true power of an immortal lord. Black Dragon breathes in spirit energy and suppresses me with a glare. Can you truly answer? If those who struggle and strive do not become king, then who should be king? Quote. Black Dragon looks down at me. And as I look back at them, I smile. Uduk. Exclamation mark. The flawless mantra draws a resplendent circle behind me. The flawless mantra that expelled only the power of immortal cultivation at first, now begins to push away even the power of Great Yin. Ududik. You. Black Dragon charges at me immediately, slamming me with their front paw, but having regained some freedom, I raise the impermanence sword and deflect them. Quote. I know, you're kind. Black Dragon is greatly shocked, but I ignore their reaction and begin to unleash my power. Triple divinity begins to properly emerge. Tukwang. I charge in an instant and strike down on Black Dragon from above. Black Dragon's upright head instantly slams into the frozen blood sea. In the ancient force realm of the Sun and Moon heavenly domain, there was a one called Jinma Yal. Unlike before, when I wrapped the impermanence sword around my body and recklessly swung my sword to test Black Dragon, I now begin to properly display martial arts. The guy was also someone who didn't hesitate to sacrifice others for the sake of reaching the peak. Kwang. Black Dragon tries to retaliate while taking my attacks, but it's no use. I properly read their heart, either letting the attacks flow or avoiding them entirely as I unleash a barrage of strikes. But what that guy longed for at the very end, despite always chasing the greatest strength, was strength that did not require sacrifice, the power of his own. Kurururung. With both legs, I stomp down onto Black Dragon's spine and continue speaking. And the power he longed for and finally obtained in his last moments, was stronger than any power he had ever pursued until then. Kwang. With their body completely suppressed by me, Black Dragon is pinned beneath me and is embedded into one of the mountains of corpses. The royal authority you speak of, earned by sacrificing others and so-called effort, is nothing more than a sandcastle bound to be swept away before the strength attained through refining the self. So abandon your empty schemes. How can you be certain? Because, right now, you are crushed beneath my feet. Black Dragon falls silent for a moment, then starts laughing. How laughable. You dress it up nicely, but in the end, you can only speak this way because you are strong. Kijajik. Quote. Exclamation mark question mark quote. I realize that my spirit is being pushed out from the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea. I am returning to the White Magnolia realm once more. Looking back, it seems Ohisio has anticipated Black Dragon's defeat and has long prepared a spell to release me. I cannot accept it. You, who walk the Tao of Great Mountain and yet pretend to be clean. I cannot acknowledge you. You may be stepping on me now, but can you say the same before the Great Mountain Supreme Deity? This world, it is built upon sacrifice. The only difference is whether I am the one being sacrificed or not. Look at the Great Mountain Supreme Deity. In the end, only those who risk nothing and sacrifice others, only they can reach the peak. Wu Wang, as I am expelled from the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea and return to my original place, I hear Black Dragon's final cry. This royal authority you argue for, then what exactly does it mean? Answer me, you monster who defies the absolute truth of the world. Quote. You will regret not joining hands with me today. Whether you are the god of gods or the king of kings, no matter what power you have gained, I will make sure you regret it. Pot. With that final cry, I return to the White Magnolia realm. My spirit returns again to my reincarnation at the integration stage, and within that body, I mull over Black Dragon's words. Thus, in my 666th reincarnation, I endlessly reflect on their words. It is not simply that Black Dragon's words left a deep impression. This is, yes, because this is the foundation for understanding the power of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity. If sacrificing everything outside of oneself is stronger than refining the self, then what truly is a strong king? To find the answer, I begin throwing endless questions at myself. Chapter 628, Royal Authority 4. Time flows swiftly. Before I know it, I reach my 700th reincarnation. Now, I have fallen from the integration stage to a level of cultivation around the innate 4-axis stage. But even in that state, I endlessly recite the flawless mantra while standing on my hands, cultivating the flawless mantra. Yet unlike before, my handstand is one that resists the mantra trying to control me, and defies the laws of the world, so to some extent, I am able to live a somewhat normal life and form connections. And, with each of those connections, my comrades always come find me and stay by my side. They become my family every time. In each and every life, I live with my comrades, and at the end of each life, I always offer myself as a sacrifice to strengthen the immortal crown I bestowed upon them. At the same time, I seek the answer to the question posed by Black Dragon. The answer that will refute the power of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity. I continue to ponder what it means to be king. How many more reincarnations pass like that? It is now the 750th cycle. Quote. Ye and ah. Before I know it, my cultivation has now dropped to the innate heavenly being stage. I look at Kim Yeon, who walks with me in this life as well, and ask. These days, everyone doesn't seem to be entering the White Magnolia realm. I read Kim Yeon's triple divinity. The triple divinity merges and takes a form through intent, and I read that form of intent to understand her thoughts. Perhaps because it is a restriction personally placed by the Liberation Supreme Deity Bong Myong, it is not easily readable even in this way, but recently, I've been able to perceive it faintly. Quote. I see. Black Dragon and Ohisio, the two joined hands and are turning the entire twin-holding heavenly domain into a complete mess, aren't they? Quote. Well, it's nothing too worrying. My cultivation of the flawless mantra seems to be approaching a bottleneck anyway. It's almost finished now, and once it's done, let's enter the stomach of the swallowing heaven supreme deity and hide there. Quote. At those words, Kim Yeon looks at me for a moment, then puffs up her cheeks and stretches mine out. UGK, what? You're saying we shouldn't go inside the swallowing heaven supreme deity's belly? That we should fight back? But rather than that, I'd prefer you all to stay safe. Thank you. But like I said, once I finish my great net immortal advancement, let's go inside the swallowing heaven supreme deity. Because, with a dark expression, I recall the Radiance 8 Immortals. The power of the Radiance 8 Immortals that overwhelmed both the Heavenly Punishment Supreme Deity and the Liberation Supreme Deity. No matter how many times I think about it, it is a terrifying authority. Quote. I want to be with all of you for a long, long time. Quote. Truly, it's been a long time since I've lived this long with my comrades. I've even lost track of how many years it's been. Quote. I wonder if Young Hoon Hung Nim is doing well. Quote. Probably, you say. Who? It doesn't seem like he's completely gone. I wish I could see him. Young Hoon Hung Nim. I sometimes chat idly with Kim Yi-yeon while sighing. Sometimes, I spar with Oh Yun-sok and Jaeon Myung-hoon using only the power of the heavenly being stage. Sometimes, I retain my memories. Other times, without bothering to retrieve them, I simply live immersed in the role I was given at birth. Thus, the cycles pass quickly. Before I know it, even the 777th cycle, which Obsidian was said to have reached, passes by swiftly. 800th cycle, my cultivation falls to the nascent soul stage. 850th cycle, I am born at the core formation stage. 900th cycle, I am born at the chi building stage. 950th cycle, I am born at the chi refining stage. And from that point on, the expressions of my comrades begin to gradually darken. Kurururung. I look up at my immortal crown that covers the white magnolia realm with a hardened face. In every single life, I offered my fortune and myself as a sacrificial offering, giving birth to immortal art, and with that power, I created the immortal crown that strengthens my comrades. Yet, despite all that, the attraction force of my comrades surrounding the white magnolia realm has been pierced, and the true immortals beyond the twin holding heavenly domain are exerting their influence. Black Dragon, oh High Co. I frown as I recall the two of them. The number of heaven and earth upper immortals and great net immortals they're summoning is gradually increasing. On top of that, this aura. Shiver. I flinch at the powerful force I feel beyond. There are at least two more beings at the level of an immortal lord. One is a massive black tiger that feels oddly familiar. The black tiger circles around the white magnolia realm and slams its front paws down across various parts of the realm. The other is a familiar face. Cooing, white-winged heavenly Pegasus, a massive half-human, half-horse beast, its entire body covered in dense muscle, is pounding at the side of the white magnolia realm. Two immortal lords have answered Black Dragon's call. Damn it. Moreover, the recent situation seems to be getting even worse. Oh Yun-sok has recently left for the Elephant Nose heavenly domain for a while. He said he had something to confirm related to Azure Tiger Saint, but there's still no sign of when he'll return. On top of that, due to the Great War unfolding in Radiance Hall, countless people are dying. As a result, Kong Min-hee seems to be incredibly busy due to her position as judge and will likely be unable to easily help us. In short, the White Magnolia realm is now being defended almost solely by Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kim Yi-yeon. Kurururung. I narrow my eyes as I see the prophecies of my comrades, which blanket the White Magnolia realm, tremble. Just hold on a little longer. The more I cultivate the flawless mantra, the more proficient I become in the power of triple divinity, and through that, I am gradually getting a sense of my great net immortal advancement ritual. Thus, as I continue cultivating the flawless mantra, I cultivate triple divinity, understand life, and contemplate royal authority. 951st cycle. My cultivation falls to the 13th star of the Chi refining stage. 952nd cycle. 12th star of Chi refining. 953rd cycle. 11th star of Chi refining. 954th cycle. 970th cycle. At last, I am born with no cultivation at all, just as an ordinary mortal. Living a mortal life, I never forget my heart, and experience the short life of a human. However, as the cycles continue to pass, finally, the 990th life. I am no longer born as a human. I am born as a dog. As a dog, I am raised in a human household, I guard that house, and live a truly short life before I die. There isn't even a moment to ponder anything. The 991st cycle. I become a horse. As a horse pulling a cart, I spend my whole life hauling loads and serving humans until I die. The 992nd cycle. I am reincarnated as a female badger. Living an ordinary life as a badger, I meet a male badger, give birth, raise my cubs, and repeat this cycle, serving my young until I die. The 993rd cycle, the 994th cycle, and the 995th cycle. The 996th cycle, the 997th cycle, and the 998th cycle as well. In each life, I behave according to the body I am reincarnated into, and I do my best to survive within the limits of each existence. And before I know it, I reach the 999th cycle. What is a king? Holding on to that question, I open my eyes in a new life. In the 999th cycle, I am born as a deer. Is it because in my previous lives I constantly died, offering up my life and the fortune I had accumulated for the sake of my comrades? Gradually, my talents diminished, and the racial stats I was born with, or the characteristics inherent to the race became increasingly trivial and inferior. And this 999th life, in which I am born as a deer, is precisely one of those. Pook, pook, I am bumped and knocked aside by the shoulders of other deer. I am notably smaller than the others, and though I am a male, my antlers do not grow, perhaps due to some defect. I am completely cast aside in the society of deer. No doe or stag among the herd becomes close to me, and no one approaches me. So rather than trying to befriend the other deer, I focus solely on chewing over the question I have carried for so long. What is a king? Why must a king not plunder others? As I peacefully graze and dwell on such things. Step, step, grr, my body trembles with instinctive fear. The countless deer, excluding myself, also tremble in terror. That's right, the king of this forest. A tiger has arrived. That tiger is one with pitch black hair, a black tiger. The black tiger looks around at our frozen bodies with serene dignity, then opens its mouth. Grr, though it is the language of tigers, we deer can understand it. Whether it's because it is a high-ranked tiger, or because its growl is halfway into the language of the demon race, I don't know. From now on, I am the king of this forest. We lower our heads toward the king of the forest. Grr, I could eat you all right now, but I will not. I will eat only one deer a month. Instead, decide among yourselves which deer will be offered to me. Half transformed into the demon race, the tiger smacks its lips, and leaves after conveying its will. Watching this, the deer gather for a meeting. How should we choose which deer will be eaten by the king of the forest? The method is simple, a lottery. We draw lots to decide which deer will be offered to the black tiger, and once a month, we offer a companion as sacrifice when the black tiger comes. Watching this, I ponder over the question of why the black tiger, called the king of the forest, is considered a king. Then, one day, grr, the black tiger arrives, and as usual, during the lottery in front of the black tiger, a female deer is chosen. So it's you today, come forward. But unlike before, when those chosen would enter the tiger's jaws without complaint for the safety of the herd. This time, the doe begins to weep. O king of the forest, please do not eat me. There is a child in my belly. Even if not for me, this child is far too pitiful. The doe cries and pleads in the language of deer, and the black tiger lets out a snort. A promise is sacred, and yet you dare ask to break the promise and spare your life. O king, I beg you for mercy. My mercy is that I do not devour your entire herd right now. When you graze, do you talk to the grass and give it a chance before you tear it up? Ah, in the end, the doe stands before the tiger's jaws, tears falling. And why do I do it? I step forward in front of the doe. I feel the astonishment of countless deer. O king of the forest, I humbly beg of you. Please spare this doe and take me instead. At my plea, the black tiger's pupils narrow into vertical slits as it glares at me. Are you telling me to break a sacred promise? That doe was chosen by lot, and the chosen deer is the one to be eaten by me. O great king of the forest. I lower my head toward the black tiger. Indeed, a promise is sacred, but is not the new life in that doe's belly, a life yet untouched by light, sacred as well? Please consider it as giving that new life a chance. At my words, the black tiger rises and glares at me. You speak of nonsense. The child in that doe's belly was fated to be eaten by me. And to be born with such a fate means it was a sinner who committed vice in its past life. Are you not defending a sinner? Quote. Suddenly wondering how a mere tiger, at most of the chi refining stage, knows of such things, I look up at the black tiger. It is at that moment. Quote. I forget my memories. I forget my name. I am just a deer, a malformed deer, at that. A stag who has yet to grow antlers. Why do I stand before such a terrifying predator, speaking such words? I am filled with deep regret. But, though I regret it, the burning hearts in my chest push me forward. It's as if they are telling me there is no reason to lower my head. O king of the forest. I am nothing more than a mere deer. I do not understand what it is the king of the forest speaks of. However, even if this child had sinned in a previous life, if it is granted this life, could it not cleanse that sin? To deny even the slightest chance simply because of past sins, I believe that is too cruel. Rather, if the king of the forest grants this sinner the opportunity to cleanse its sins, grants them a new life, would that not be even more sacred than the promise we have made? The black tiger stares at me intently. Pitiful deer bearing much in your heart, yet born with nothing. What are you, to speak such words before me, the king of the forest? Why must I, the king of the forest, concern myself with your words? I fall silent for a moment. When I look into the black tiger's eyes, I cannot remember who I used to be. I am but a mere deer. However, I am the one who makes a king a king. If the one before me is a king, then I am their subject. Every king is called such because they have subjects. And thus, I can stand proudly even before the king. Then, deer who makes a king, would it be permissible for me to devour you whole instead of that doe? Yes, deer who makes a king, for the child in the belly of a doe you do not even know of, why do you so carelessly offer your precious life? That is, once more, I look up at the black tiger's eyes. When I first looked into those eyes, I had feared being nothing but a deer. But now, it is no longer so. As your majesty said, if there is such a thing as a past life, then when I too am reborn someday, and face the danger of being eaten the moment I am born, I would wish for someone to help me. You mean to say you offer your life for retribution that may or may not come? It will come, just as your majesty holds promises sacred and does not devour us all at once, and in return is provided with us every month. I too, for the sake of what I hold sacred, have given my body. And hence, I too shall be repaid. The black tiger stares at me for a moment, then speaks. Very well, deer who makes a king. I shall grant you mercy. I shall not eat you whole and take your life. Seeing your noble heart, I shall only tear off and eat one of your legs. With those words, the black tiger bites off one of my legs. For a mere deer like me, it brings unspeakable pain, yet I express my gratitude to the black tiger. Thank you. Be on your way. Whether it is a demon ability cast by the king of the forest, the leg that is torn off heals quickly. From that day on, I live on as a deer with one less leg. Daily life continues to repeat. Then one day, the same event happens again. Once more, a pregnant doe is selected by lot. O king of the forest, please have mercy. Please spare me. The doe sheds tears as she pleads to the king of the forest. Seeing this, I drag my 3 legs and step before the black tiger, making the same request as before. The black tiger looks at me and, without many words, ends it by biting off one of my hind legs. With my front left and rear right legs gone, I become a deer with only 2 legs. Several months pass. A few strong stags and does without fawns are eaten by the black tiger. Then, another certain month arrives. Once again, a pregnant doe draws the lot. O king, the doe weeps, and I naturally limp forward with my 2 legs. The black tiger looks at me and this time bites off my other hind leg. Now, without both hind legs, I am left with only one front leg. Fortunately, this forest is abundant. Even with a single leg I am able to drag myself to eat grass, so I manage to survive. Another year passes. Now, I have become well known among the deer. No deer scorns or disregards me for lacking antlers anymore. All the young deer grow up hearing my story, and when I pass by dragging my body with one leg, they bow in respect. Before I know it, I become a deer who, with the most pitiful body, receives the most noble treatment. And one day, that day comes again. O king, a pregnant doe once again sheds tears as she pleads to the king. I, to offer my last remaining leg, drag this pitiful body forward on my single leg and stand before the king of the forest. O king of the forest, I thank you for the mercy you have shown time and time again. Please, give the child about to be born a chance, and take this old body in full. After all, once my last leg is gone, I will not be able to live on anyway. Then, the king of the forest, the black tiger, looks down at me and asks. Deer who makes a king, are you not afraid of death? Are you not afraid of having your life taken away? Even if there is another life, the you in the next life is not the you of now. It is not a continuation of you with your memories. That is certainly true. I acknowledge those words. However, I feel no fear, but I am truly not afraid. Because, even if I die today, the child I saved today will survive and live to have a life. And, among all the deer, my heart will remain. Even if I die, my heart will never disappear. Perhaps it will be within me in a future life, but it will also dwell within my family, the herd of deer, and continue to be passed on. Without a single lingering regret, I offer my neck to the black tiger. I will not disappear. O king, please take me. Deer who makes a king, I ask you one final thing. To you, what is a king? A king, I answer with the brightest smile a deer can make. A king is one who gives and receives. Your Majesty became the king of the forest because you exchanged a promise with us. And in holding that promise sacred, and because you also honored us as sacred, did you not become our sanctity as well, O king? In your words, a king, in the end, is one who holds the other as sacred. For some reason, I feel as though the black tiger is smiling. Then, oh dear, who makes a king a king? As you truly hold your fellow deer sacred, and as you yourself are held sacred by them. The black tiger rises and cries out. Are you not then the king of deer? Quote. At those words, I look up at the black tiger. Then I look behind me. Behind me, countless deer who have heard my story and shown me respect bow their heads at my final moment. O king of deer, born in a pitiful form, I make you this promise. Since you have answered me what a king is, I shall, with you as the last, touch your herd no more. Quote. Thank you, yes, O dear king, sleep in peace. Waduk, waduduk, wadudududuk. And so, in the jaws of the black tiger, within the mouth of the king of the forest, I am slowly chewed to pieces and die in pain. And as I am chewed by its teeth, I recall something. Each time it bites down on me, a rush of memories from my life as a deer flashes before my eyes. The day it chewed my first leg. The day it chewed my second leg. The day it chewed my third leg. And today, as it chews my last leg along with my entire self. For some reason, through that stream of memories, I gain an unknown wisdom. In the flash of the day my first leg was torn, I gain wisdom of a name called Krita Kurta. In the flash of the day my second leg was torn, I gain wisdom of a name called Treta Treta. In the flash of the day my third leg was torn, I gain wisdom of a name called Divyapara. In the final flashback, when my fourth leg and entire life are torn away, I gain wisdom of a name called Kali. And when I attain all that wisdom, I reclaim myself. Snapping back to my senses, I realize I have finally returned to my main body and look around. Then, I hurriedly look down to the white magnolia realm to find the black tiger, who had brought a final close to my life as the deer king. I sweep through the entire white magnolia realm with my consciousness in search of the king of the forest. But, strangely, I cannot find the black tiger, nor even the forest of deer where I once lived. As if that entire life as a deer had been nothing more than a fleeting daydream. Quote. I see. At last, I understand everything. Then, the three exalted immortal lords knocking from beyond the white magnolia realm. White-winged heavenly Pegasus, black dragon, and a black tiger, seemingly forged from the darkness of the universe. I look up at the immortal beast Supreme Tiger. Goo. It was you. I notice the essence of Supreme Tiger. In Supreme Tiger's eyes, there is none of the dizziness I saw in the king of the forest I once met. And yet, I realize that the two beings are fundamentally connected. That's right, the king of the forest I met was the former master of the flawless mantra, the god who created the twin-holding heavenly domain, and at the same time, the very one who brought forth the swallowing heaven supreme deity. The lingering thought of the obsidian devil heavenly king. Realizing I had encountered the lingering thought of the obsidian devil heavenly king, I take a deep breath. Today, after 999 cycles, I have, at long last, truly brought the flawless mantra to great completion. Chapter 629, Royal Authority 5. The reason I feel that I've truly achieved great completion in the flawless mantra isn't just for any particular reason. Pasasasasa, it's because the power of the swallowing heaven supreme deity, which had forcibly repeated my cultivation of the flawless mantra through the power of history induction until now, completely releases me. At the same time, I realize the true identity of the immortal beast Supreme Tiger. I see, swallowing heaven supreme deity. The swallowing heaven supreme deity is neither a heaven immortal nor an earth immortal. They are simply a mass that formed amidst the devouring of all things by the power of the mantra and rose to the position of supreme deity, and thus they are both and neither at the same time. And, it is foretold that mental fragmentation would befall a heaven-earth upper immortal. The immortal beast Supreme Tiger turns out to be one of the fragmented mental bodies of the swallowing heaven supreme deity. However, perhaps because the powers on both sides were not divided equally, the swallowing heaven supreme deity holds overwhelming power, while the side that feels more like a living being is Supreme Tiger. In essence, power resides in the swallowing heaven supreme deity, while life resides in Supreme Tiger. Did the lingering thought of the obsidian devil heavenly king reach out to me through Supreme Tiger? That is the only conclusion I can reach. And as I sense the will dwelling within the lingering thought of the obsidian devil heavenly king, I spread my arms. I see. With the 999th cycle, my cultivation of the flawless mantra has come to an end. And after facing my 999th death and awakening once more in my main body, I can say that I've ultimately undergone my 1000th reincarnation. 500 times of yin pitch, 500 times of yang pitch. The perfect harmony of yang pitch and yin pitch resonates from within me. Having more than enough to distribute 12 each to both sides of heaven earth upper immortal, I feel immensely reassured. Now, what remains is, at this point, where I have reached the peak of heaven earth upper immortal, all that is left is to carry out the advancement ritual to become a great net immortal. Becoming a great net immortal. But, I look around. Where is everyone? It's when I'm scanning the various parts of the white magnolia realm. Master. Exclamation mark. Oh, isn't this Hong Fan? It feels like it's been a very long time since I last saw you. Hong Fan looks no different from before. Even his realm remains at the entering nirvana stage. Well, since I've been cultivating the flawless mantra, I haven't been able to keep accurate track of time. By any chance, do you know how many years it's been since I started cultivating the flawless? It's just when I'm about to continue speaking. Pekong. A refreshing sensation flows through my body as something is pulled out. It is the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag. Exclamation mark. I open my eyes wide at the sight of the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag being drawn out from my body. After one was forcibly extracted when I became the immortal beast candle shadow, there were 6. Now, one of its seals is undone again. Only 5 seals remain in the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag. Startled, I reach out my hand toward the extracted Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag, and soon I realize the reason it was released. I see, the condition has been met. Though it can be forcibly extracted, originally, as Yogi once explained, the proper way is to connect to the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag and fulfill the conditions each one demands. And the release condition for this one is 1,000 or more reincarnations. I click my tongue at this insane condition. Now that I think about it, up until now it has only imposed minor restrictions on me and nothing too fundamental, so I've left it alone, but it's about time I start figuring out the release conditions. I breathe consciousness into the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flags and uncover the release conditions for the 5 remaining flags. The release conditions for the 5 Northern Dipper sealing immortal flags are as follows. First flag, destroy and recreate a heavenly domain while below the realm of immortal lord. Second, withstand each of the Radiance 8 immortals' single strikes at least once in order. Third, obtain a clue to the coordinates in the outer sea where the heavenly venerable of time resides. Fourth, challenge one of the heavenly venerables and their specialty and win. Fifth, while in the realm of a great net immortal, battle and defeat 3 supreme deities. All of them are utterly insane release conditions. Well, come to think of it, these are immortal treasures created to seal the vast cold heavenly lord. Especially the 3rd to 5th conditions feel hopeless. No, since the 3rd could possibly be resolved with help from Young Song, Hyeon Mu, or the heavenly venerables of the underworld, in reality, the truly difficult ones are the 4th and 5th. At least the 5th Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag does not require battling all 3 supreme deities simultaneously. As long as I find and challenge appropriate supreme deities one by one as a great net immortal, it's not entirely hopeless. Kiriririk. It's when I'm organizing my thoughts. The recently extracted Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag, as if rewarding me for its removal, begins to bestow new wisdom upon me. As I read this wisdom, a strange feeling creeps over me. Is this a method to cross the outer sea? I see. The Northern Dipper 7 heavenly lords. If I succeed in unlocking the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flags, they intend for me to find the heavenly venerable of time, so they are giving me knowledge related to the outer sea. In any case, since the wisdom of crossing the outer sea itself isn't bad at all, I accept the knowledge and then read the flow of past time through the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag. And without needing to ask Hong Fan, I come to know how many years have passed since I began cultivating the flawless mantra. This is insane. 70 million years. Has it really been 70 million years, Hong Fan? Yes, master. At those words, I let out a silent sigh. Now I've fully surpassed the mental age of 100 million. First of all, do you know where the others are now? The other elders have currently gone over to the Elephant Nose heavenly domain. And Elder Kong Min He seems to be active in the deepest depths of the underworld. Kong Min He is expected, but the Elephant Nose heavenly domain. Kim Yeon and Jaeon Myung Hoon too. Yes, even if Yun Sok Hung Nim went off to investigate regarding Azure Tiger Saint, why did the others go there? I'm not exactly sure myself. However, I was told that once Master's cultivation of the flawless mantra is complete, I should pass on a message. I accept something like a spirit stone from Hong Fan. At the same time, messages left by my comrades flow into my mind. Quote. I come to understand the situation. I see. Near the end of my flawless mantra cultivation, while I was repeatedly reincarnating as an animal, they received a message from Yun Sok. The content of the message is none other than this. His master, the owner of the Elephant Nose Heavenly Domain, the naming Supreme Deity Hyeon Rang, discovered signs in the outer sea that Kim Young-hoon is attempting to return. And for Kim Young-hoon to return from the outer sea, the help of his fellow Enders is required, so Kim Yeon and Jaeon Myung-hoon temporarily head to the Elephant Nose Heavenly Domain to assist in Kim Young-hoon's return. The naming Supreme Deity Hyeon Rang. Why do they keep helping us? Is it perhaps because I suffered at the hands of the Liberation Supreme Deity? I don't feel entirely comfortable about their goodwill. Well, whatever. Since it's come to this, I might as well go see the others and find out more about the naming Supreme Deity. It's also been a while since I've seen Young-hoon Hung Nim. With that thought, I look toward Hong Fan. By the way, Hong Fan, why have you maintained the entering Nirvana stage for 70 million years? Well, it is nothing special. It's simply that at the present time, among Master's immortal treasures, there are no longer any mortal beings. In order for Master to freely exert influence in the lower realm, I believed it would be best to have at least one mortal immortal treasure, so I kept my realm as is. What, then that means? Haha, yes, please see for yourself. Hong Fan points toward the sky of the White Magnolia realm, filled with a hazy, white chaos. Where his hand points, familiar figures at an entirely unfamiliar realm are engaged in battle against incoming true immortals from beyond. Yohee, Ham Jin, Yuhee. My immortal treasures. During the long years I've been cultivating the flawless mantra, they've all succeeded in reaching the realm of upper immortal. Attached to each of their bodies are my immortal crowns, passed down by Jaeon Myung-hoon, Yun Sok, and Kim Yeon. Drawing on the power of my immortal crowns, they are blocking the massive army of true immortals attempting to invade the inner parts of the White Magnolia realm. Ham Jin, Yuhee, Yohee. I shout loudly to my familiar immortal treasures and subordinates, and their faces brighten as they look at me. Master, Master, Teacher, I fly over and land beside them. Have you all been well? Ha ha ha, goodness, you've all reached upper immortal. Ha ha, 70 million years is a long time, after all. Even cowardly Yohee managed to reach upper immortal after begging Elder Kong Minhee and making sure she wouldn't die. Perhaps from being together so long, it seems Yohee now speaks casually with Yohee. Yohee coughs as if embarrassed, and respectfully greets me. It has been a while, Master. I heard Master has been cultivating a powerful mantra. According to Yohee, it's called the Flawless Mantra, but the only mantra I know is the Phenomena Extinguishing Mantra. She then scans me up and down with meaningful eyes. That being said, Master, you are still an upper immortal. Of course, compared to us who have only just reached it, Master's cultivation as an upper immortal is already complete. This Yohee. She probably thinks my realm is lower than expected, and she doesn't understand the true power of the flawless mantra, so she's doubtful. Clicking my tongue inwardly, I consider that maybe it's better to string her up and beat her harshly whenever I think of her to keep her loyalty in check. I'll be undergoing the Great Net Immortal Advancement ritual soon anyway, so don't worry. More importantly, Ham Jin, I smile gently as I look at Ham Jin, who bows respectfully to me. Among my immortal treasures, Ham Jin is the one whose growth stands out the most. You've grown splendidly. Thank you, teacher. Haha, what kind of teacher am I, abandoning his students for 70 million years? Still, it's good to see you've all grown safely. So, all of you chose the Heaven Upper Immortal path. Yes, the power of fate is the most intuitive and powerful, after all. I recommended it. Hong Fan walks up beside me and laughs heartily. Then, suddenly turning serious, he speaks. That aside, Master, why did you suddenly destroy the colorless glass sword and the canvas of myriad forms and connections? It was frightening. As I understand it, they were practically Master's immortal treasure and immortal art. Are you all right? I didn't really explain that properly. But don't worry, the canvas of myriad forms and connections has not disappeared. Wu Wang. I smile as I look at my immortal crowns attached to my immortal treasures. It simply took on a different form, becoming another sword, and another immortal art. And through it, I will never lose my memories, so there's nothing to worry about. Quote. However, Hong Fan doesn't look convinced. Still, next time, I would appreciate at least a word of explanation. That canvas of myriad forms and connections, was it not basically you yourself, Master? As I understand it, my own form was also recorded within it. Yeah, you are right. I'm sorry, I didn't think it through enough. I should have realized you'd be shocked and explain things properly. Quote. No, it's fine, what's done is done. Don't worry too much, Hong Fan. I smile faintly and take out the norage from my waist. Even though its form has changed, and the essence of the immortal art now resides within my heart, it's not as though it can't be restored. Pot. The norage, turned white and into salt crystal, emits light and scatters power throughout the white magnolia realm's nebula, which had been eroded by the power of my colorless glass sword and the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Retrieve the power of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Flower soul filling the heavens. Waak. Flower soul filling the heavens embeds into the norage as its medium. At the same time, infused with my power and will, the norage flies to the center of the white nebula and begins to draw it in. Because flower soul filling the heavens is the most effective when it comes to spells that infuse will and heart, I deliberately choose to use it. Querararik. Simultaneously, my winged garment unfolds and blocks the beings beyond the nebula. Goo. Anyway, we've nearly finished all business here in the twin-holding heavenly domain. Now, let's wrap things up and head to the elephant nose heavenly domain. I begin absorbing the entire white magnolia realm, filled with memories, into the norage imbued with the power of ancient force. The white magnolia realm, which contains the entirety of the colorless glass sword and the canvas of myriad forms and connections, starts to converge around the norage. As the nebula fades, I spot hundreds, even thousands of true immortals who had been attempting to enter from the outside. The most noticeable among them is the immortal beast Supreme Tiger, who radiates a familiar will toward me. Next is the half-human, half-horse giant god boasting cosmic muscles, the main body of white-winged heavenly Pegasus. Lastly, there is the great Yin True Lord Black Dragon, who shares an ill connection with me, and above their head, the projection of Ohio. Goo. I feel the power of flower soul filling the heavens, which had condensed the entire nebula behind me, returning to me. Centered on the norage, flower soul filling the heavens, looking like clouds of clumped white nebula, appear imbued with the power of both the canvas of myriad forms and connections and the colorless glass sword. I calmly extend my hand toward the compressed clumps of nebula to retrieve the norage. Just then, Waak. Quote. My history, flower soul filling the heavens, and the remnants of the canvas of myriad forms and the colorless glass sword begin to resonate as they meet. At the same time, I feel flower soul filling the heavens completely fusing with the nebula. I realize what change is occurring within flower soul filling the heavens. As my history in the white magnolia realm is newly passed on to flower soul filling the heavens, flower soul filling the heavens is evolving. Its form changes, and I feel it fully embed itself into the norage. Soon after, the appearance of flower soul filling the heavens is something familiar. It has taken the form of my 999th reincarnation of the flawless mantra. Its form has changed to that of the deer king from that time. White deer without antlers. That is the newly transformed form of flower soul filling the heavens. Chapter 630. Mastering the Mantra. As I watch this scene, I feel an emotion I can't quite grasp. Purple soul filling the heavens, which had undergone countless twists and turns, became flower soul filling the heavens, and now it has evolved once more. The remnants of the colorless glass sword and the canvas of myriad forms and connections, which I thought were no longer necessary due to their evolution into the immortal crown, have now merged with flower soul filling the heavens to take on a new form. In this world, there's not a single thing that is unnecessary. Even a single speck exists because it is needed in this world. From now on, this deer-shaped flower soul filling the heavens could be refined back into the canvas of myriad forms and connections, or used for another purpose. I gently stroke the deer for a moment, then absorb it into the norage and fasten the norage back to my waist. It's been a while, Black Dragon. And I am called White-Winged Heavenly Pegasus. The flower overseer under the sal tree Heavenly Venerable. I've been enjoying watching you cultivate the flawless mantra from the flower field. Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, Elder Flower Overseer. I glanced slightly toward Supreme Tiger. I see. Ohisio must have poured a lot of tainted soul filling the heavens into the mindless Supreme Tiger, inputting commands to control them. It looks like she is barely managing to control them by refining a single corpse mountain blood sea into tainted soul filling the heavens. Because Supreme Tiger's power is so great, it looks like even a light push could unravel tainted soul filling the heavens. That precariousness is quite amusing to watch. Anyway, are all these many true immortals gathered here just to strike me down? Black Dragon looks down on me with arrogance and says, indeed, you, having reached great completion in the flawless mantra and seeking to devour Mount Sumeru, are a candidate of the Devil Heaven King. At the same time, it has been confirmed that you are the return of the vast cold Heavenly Lord, wanted by Radiance Hall. On top of that, it has been confirmed that you possess the phenomena extinguishing mantra, so you must also be connected to the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, who is currently reciting something called the Splitting Heaven Mantra. Obsidian Devil Heavenly King, Vast Cold Heavenly Lord, Great Mountain Supreme Deity. Learning the arts of even one of them is dangerous, but you are a being who has learned them all. Knowing of your existence, how could we possibly leave you be? I let out a hollow laugh and pointed at Ohisio. That one is a direct disciple of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, yet why are you letting her sit above your head and running? No, never mind, I sigh. Looking closely, I realize that all the true immortals gathered here, excluding white-winged heavenly Pegasus, are naturally infected with tainted soul filling the heavens. Though turning the infected into complete slaves like Seo Whale is impossible, it seems possible to input a simple command, like making them ignore Ohisio. Moreover, when Black Dragon fought me before, they were heavily infected by Ohisio's tainted soul filling the heavens and were implanted with many commands, so they seem half enslaved to Ohisio now. As for white-winged heavenly Pegasus, they don't seem even remotely interested in Ohisio, with or without tainted soul filling the heavens. Realizing that no one will care even if I point out Ohisio, I look at Black Dragon and speak. Quote. You talk about not being able to let me be and all that, but in the end, you've come to punish me simply because I didn't take your hand, is that not so? So what if that's true? Is punishing you something to be ashamed of? There is no reason to hide it. I just wanted to make it clear. I look up at Black Dragon and signal to my immortal treasures with my eyes. The immortal treasures enter my body in an instant, and white-winged heavenly Pegasus, seemingly sensing something, begins to overlap their body with the Eastern Heaven Flower Field. They look ready to flee into the Eastern Heaven Flower Field if necessary. Listen well, Black Dragon. You once asked me, what is a king? By what standard could a king dare be judged? With a solemn expression, I speak about the meaning of King Wong I have come to understand. A true king is not someone who only sacrifices others. Nor are they merely a being who bends others through overwhelming violence. Black Dragon's eyes twitch at my words. Of course, your words stand true as well. Indeed, even if one does not stake themselves and sacrifices others to climb to the peak through effort, that too could be called a king. However, a true king does not end there. At best, this is an enlightenment I gained in the past life as a deer during my mortal days. Yet I shout with confidence that the enlightenment I gained as a lowly animal can still be properly conveyed even on a battlefield of true immortals. A king is one who cherishes others, one who gives and receives, and one who takes care of others. You believed that the sacrifices of the living beings of Mount Sumeru didn't matter in order to become a heavenly venerable, Black Dragon. But if you truly are a king, then shouldn't you treasure them instead? I speak the heart I awakened as the deer king. A king is not one who stands at the peak. Ruling simply because they are strong and high above does not make one a king. A king is one who cherishes those beneath them, who has something to give and receive with them, who possesses the will to care of them. Every single speck of dust in this Mount Sumeru has a reason for its existence. There is not a single living being who is without value. Therefore, you, who cannot cherish even a speck, are unworthy to be this mountain's king, Black Dragon. Black Dragon glares down at me with displeasure and mutters. Let me ask again, can you say those words, before the great mountain? Supreme Deity, quote. Of course, Chiak. I raise both hands high. White-winged heavenly Pegasus chuckles and immediately flees into the Eastern Heaven Flower Field. Apologies, but as my master told me to conserve power, this immortal shall withdraw. It seems white-winged heavenly Pegasus, being of the realm of severing heaven, senses the ominousness. I can say it. Keying. Within both of my palms, the jade of yin-yang and 5 elements begins to gather. Seeing this, the true immortals all begin to stir at once. Do not be shaken. Even if he uses the phenomena extinguishing mantra, he is still just an upper immortal. He can never produce the majesty of the great mountain supreme deity. Black Dragon hardens their expression as they try to calm the true immortals, and the face of Ohaisio, sitting on Black Dragon's head, grows rigid and stiff. Because, a king who knows how to cherish all, can definitely become stronger than the great mountain supreme deity. Keying, a brilliant white light begins to radiate from my palms. At the same time, my body begins to expand. Kurururung, wearing a white round collar robe from which countless glass swords protrude forth, with bare flesh composed of glass true fire, tails of mist extending from the robe's edges, and a pure white 3 great ultimates circling behind my head, my true form descends upon this place. Do. The jade of yin-yang and 5 elements gathered within my hands begin to emit a resplendently brilliant light. The true immortals start to panic. Because attraction force is intensifying. Phenomena, space-time begins to contract around me. Extinguishing. Then, I begin to see countless threads of attraction force extending from me connecting to the many true immortals. Man, wait, what's going on, Black Dragon? We're being pulled in. In what world does that look like an upper immortal? Come up with a plan. However, no one can escape. TRA, heaven, earth, and heavens above. My voice fills the entire world as I begin concentrating attraction force around the light within my palms. Compressing the heavenly domain itself is still somewhat difficult. But, what if it's just true immortals? Especially the true immortals who have been incessantly pounding at my immortal treasures over the past tens of millions of years. Wing! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Om Mani Padme Hum. Editor. Read as, Om Mani Padme Hum, often translated to, praise to the jewel in the lotus. It's typically recited to purify negative karma and cultivate compassion. The retribution of the impermanent sword is enforced. The true immortals who have been pounding on us over the past tens of millions of years begin to be drawn in all at once by the attraction force of the phenomena extinguishing mantra. I still can't compress a heavenly domain into a single point. However, if retribution is enforced against those who bore malice toward us, then it's more than possible. Yes, if it's at this level, it's possible. Because I have succeeded in completely mastering the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Both phenomena extinguishing and flawlessness, today, I have made them all mine. Keying, no one can escape, for I will not permit it. Be annihilated in full, you who tried to harm my family. Countless divine spirits try to flee from the phenomena extinguishing mantra, but it's futile. No one escapes, all are sucked and absorbed by the phenomena extinguishing mantra. The phenomena extinguishing mantra does not stop there. Distant space-time, star clusters, galaxies begin to be drawn in. I don't need those. Pointlessly causing the living beings inside them to die is not preferable. Krita Kurta, I speak the 4 wisdoms I obtained from the Obsidian Devil Heavenly King. That is, I recite the 4 immortal arts. At the same time, the innocent living beings of the galaxy clusters, who are about to be absorbed by the phenomena extinguishing mantra, ascend all at once to Krita, one of the 4 great middle realms of the twin-holding heavenly domain. Kudududududuk. Star clusters, nebulae, sea of stars, galaxies, and galaxy groups are ground and compressed into a single point by the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Even the many true immortals who had managed to escape far away are drawn in all at once and compressed into a single point. Kugugugugugu. The light exploding from between my 2 hands is overwhelming. Well, it's the compression and annihilation of thousands of true immortals at once. How could there not be such a massive release of light and heat? But within that light and heat, inside the overwhelming attraction force, I look upon the 2 beings who endure without fleeing. They are the immortal beast Supreme Tiger, and the immortal beast Black Dragon. Supreme Tiger slowly enters the phenomena extinguishing mantra, as if they don't particularly intend to resist, but Black Dragon clenches their teeth and endures. They mutter an attempt to unleash the Great Yin mantra, but even the Great Yin mantra, which draws upon the origin essence of Great Yin, is utterly devoured by the phenomena extinguishing mantra and rendered useless. Yet, perhaps because even Black Dragon cannot hold on forever. In the end, they begin to be dragged into the phenomena extinguishing mantra. And finally, Kururururung. Black Dragon's massive body begins to be sucked into the phenomena extinguishing mantra. It is over. Even as they are sucked into the phenomena extinguishing mantra, Black Dragon looks at me. In their final moment, Black Dragon only sighs. Am I not allowed to become king? With those final words, Black Dragon's massive body is completely sucked into the single point of the phenomena extinguishing mantra and is annihilated. Goo. I breathe heavily, letting out a low groan at the overwhelming hegemonic force between my hands. It was only the method that was wrong. After acquiring the phenomena extinguishing mantra, I have finally succeeded in fully mastering it. Of course, I haven't completely shattered the prophecies and revisions of the true immortals, so in time, they will likely resurrect somewhere. But it will take a significant amount of time before that happens. Kurururung. Gazing at the power surging between my hands, I speak. You seem to have something to say, Senior Ho Woon. That's right. Ho Woon, who has at some point reached Great Net Immortal, stands behind me, arms crossed. Revealing their true form, they mutter briefly. Truly terrifying, the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Indeed, it is. Are you going to eat it? Ho Woon asks while looking at the light compressed into a single point in my hands. Are you insane? That will never happen. In that case, now would be the best time. Hearing Ho Woon's next words, I flinch in surprise. Not because of the content of their words, but because of the ice-cold intent contained in Ho Woon's voice. If you won't consume it, then use it. Through it, begin your advancement to Great Net Immortal. .. Because this will be the final teaching this immortal imparts to you while alive. And so, my Great Net Immortal advancement begins.